Hi, I'm Becca Otis from Five Lines Pottery in Indianapolis, Indiana.
And I'm Ryan Durbin from RD Ceramics, located in Southgate, Kentucky.
And welcome to Wheel Talk.
Hey guys, we've loved answering all of your questions so far. If you'd like to hear your question on the podcast, please send them to us on Instagram at Wheel Talk Podcast or by email to wheeltalkpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks.
Alrighty. Becca, do you want to ease us in here?
Intro, what happens?
Oh yeah, hi. We're live.
Hello.
Hello. So we have a guest today because we've been having a lot of guests, and that's what makes sense.
That's just naturally how it's worked. I don't know that we intentionally were like, we need to load up on guests right now because that's what everybody wants. It's just like you have the urge and you schedule it and it just happens.
Just happens. So we have Andrew Fegler, and he's my best friend from Washington, and we've had him on the podcast before. What episode was it?
Episode number 59. It was
59.
called Hustling Online. This is all the way back in October of 2020.
Yeah. And Andrew, would you like to reintroduce yourself and tell us all about yourself? And yeah.
Yes. I am Andrew. My brand is called That's So Andrew. It's a snarky stationery line intended for the girls, gays, and theys. I started this brand 3 years ago, and I started selling it 13 months ago, wholesale, now distributed in over 170 stores, and just secured my first corporate contract. And I'm 24. I like to throw that in there.
How old are you?
24.
24.
Yes.
Okay.
But also, Andrew's been doing stuff, just like business stuff, since he was 16.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask, how long has That So Andrew been around, and what's your background before that? Because you're 24 now, and a lot of people are in different stages of, what's your background before that?
Well, I've had That So Andrew for 3 years now. And before that, I designed and imported home decor goods. And before that, I was a baker and had my own cake decorating, baking company. And a couple other things in between, but those are the three main ones.
Were you already doing some stationery, a little bits of that in your previously before That So Andrew, and then you were like, hey, let's try this? Or was it an extension of some of the decor stuff that you were doing, and you were seeing that was resonating, so you kind of went
so
as well?
That's So Andrew, the first 6 months of That's So Andrew was strictly only selling mugs that I designed and printed on and imported as well. And so, as you both know, and everyone listening to this podcast knows, shipping mugs sucks ass, and it's expensive, and they break. And my grandma actually was like, you should put some of your funny quotes on cards. These would make good cards. And that's how I kind of dabbled into it, and then realized that spending $3 to ship something anywhere in the world is a lot better than spending $15 to ship a mug one state over. So I slowly phased out anything bigger than a mug. And so now my new policy when creating products is it has to be lighter than a pound and smaller than a mug. But yeah, so.
Is that mostly because of the customer's more conscious of what they're paying at the end because of shipping cost? You're not doing a free shipping, so it.
Yes, and space is a huge thing too. So, packing wholesale orders, I just packed one that has 1,000 cards, and it fit into a 12 by 12 box.
Oh my gosh, 1,000 cards.
So on 1,000 cards, it was like a $2,500 order, and my shipping cost on it was under $30. Where, if we do a $2,500 mug order, that's probably a pallet. It's a lot. So it's more space conscious, and shipping price, it's less shipping.
Because they're gonna want to know, tell them what kind of mugs they were.
Do you have one?
No.
Or were you actually printing on like bisqueware mugs, or were they printed on finished glazed mugs, or what was kind of the?
So Becca and I designed the mugs. She threw the original shape on her wheel and made the handle. And then we sent it to China and it was molded and mass produced. And then on the China side, they quote unquote engraved the mugs with the design on it because it's just black and white designs. However, it wasn't really engraved. It was black, like they screen printed wax on the design, and so it was more like the glaze just didn't touch the mug in certain places. Thank you.
I got you. So it was kind of like Ray Dunn in the sense of they put wax in the underglaze the cup, dipped the cup, and then it resisted over the words. So
you were shipped finished mugs, and then
Correct.
you would resell the finished mug. Okay.
Correct.
Yeah, and they were cone 10 porcelain.
10 porcelain, and they were vitrified.
They were vitrified.
My one pottery word that I love. It's my party trick.
Yeah, and like before that he was doing like low fire stuff. Like he had some low fire stuff before I kind of like
Low fire dolomite is what it was.
Yeah, it was low fire dolomite, and we would have to like
crazy.
Yeah, we would have to like refire it in the bisque, and like
you shouldn't be getting finished pieces and you have to refire them.
No, they literally crazed so bad. So then we'd refire them just like bisqueware, and they weren't dishwasher safe. They couldn't go in the microwave without taking your hand off. So I switched suppliers, and like they were nice mugs. My final product was really, really nice porcelain.
Okay.
I remember when we got his first like set of cone 10 mugs, and I was like, Andrew, these are better than my mugs.
Yeah.
Like,
how did you go about finding a supplier for stuff like that? Is there like a marketplace for things like that, or how do you go about finding that?
Yes, we could do a whole episode on importing, but the simplest answer is go to Alibaba.com and find a supplier, get samples, and go from there.
Okay.
That's where I found all of my manufacturers.
And it gets as granular as like cone 10 porcelain and stuff like that?
Mm-hmm. But they don't do cones there. It's temperature.
It's temp. So
okay, so you just have to look at, and it's probably in Celsius, I'm guessing.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so you just got to figure out what that is, and
yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm sure there's a lot to sift through. I mean, the only thing I buy wholesale from China is like these bottle top things, and they price it out, and you see the same photo picture, the same profile photos for all the stuff, and it's just they're priced differently. I don't know if they're just competing on prices to.
Well, and some people on there are just glorified brokers, so they actually work with factories, and then just they're basically a middleman and upcharge you. And then some of them are actually the direct companies. I found like a boutique manufacturer. They don't do like super, super high volume like sales, so it was more of a personal relationship, and it was just better.
Okay. And now that you're in cards, how does that work? Is that similar? With the graphics and stuff, or are there
yes, however,
options or something?
Because of COVID, importing became such a headache, and that was actually a huge additional reason that I kind of steered away from the mugs and things. So everything I do now is domestically produced. So I eliminated the tariffs and the long shipping times just because it was too much of a headache and a hassle. And there's so many print shops, and like there's so much more options here for the type of goods I'm producing, where finding a bulk manufacturer for pottery here it doesn't really exist, or the minimums are so high. So
you tried.
Factory.
I tried really hard. And like we reached out to Rebecca from Graves Co. We reached out to is it Ellen Pottery, Becca?
Ellen Pottery, yeah.
Yeah, like trying to find just connections, and it just doesn't exist here. So depending on the market you're in, you have to outsource. So, but I'm happy everything's now domestic, and it's just way easier and quicker.
Nice.
Yeah, now you're just like, now he just drives over to the lady that prints off his cards and picks them up.
I could walk technically.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
It's
I'm sure on their side they really like the consistent business of, being able to supply you as a customer, even though you're gonna end up selling it again, like, and you're wholesaling it, like you're
They absolutely
consistent.
do, and I mean, they're making like $3,000 to $5,000 a month off of me, so they're having a good time. And I went to high school with the daughter of who owns the place because it's just a small town, so I know where my money is going, which I feel a lot more like conscious about and better too. So
Yeah, so like where his printer is literally across the train tracks from where my old studio was.
like you could throw a rock out Becca's back door.
Nice.
You could throw a long baseball, but yes.
Sure.
You could throw a baseball that far?
I could probably throw a baseball that far.
It's like a football field.
You can't throw a baseball
We're
the
getting
length
a
of a
lot
football
bigger.
field.
We're getting a lot bigger here.
We could hit a baseball with a bat to hit them.
You could hit a baseball out of the ballpark? That's
Yes,
300.
we could. Yes.
Okay.
Anyways.
Nice. All right.
Walking 5 minutes tops. Mostly because you're like trying to get over all the big rocks on the trains.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that's awesome. Plus that's stimulating the economy locally as well. Yeah, that's great. Okay. Okay, so you're mostly doing stationery now.
Yep.
Are there other products besides stationery, or is it just that pretty much?
I do 4 products. I do cards, journals, the like pin back buttons, and stickers.
Okay. Yeah, that stuff is so much easier to transport, I'm sure. And then storage wise, like that's almost nothing, right?
I mean, yeah, there's like 10,000 cards just on this little shelf.
Oh my gosh.
Life's a dream.
Okay.
Life's a dream. Yeah, from going from his like dad's garage, like filling up literally half of his dad's garage, to a tiny little studio, like office.
And that's the thing, you can, if you have that flexibility to change what you're making, like I'm sure there's a lot of potters out there that make a lot of bigger things that just take a lot of space up. So it's like, what size studio do you need, and do you need to store it somewhere, or do you just change what you're making and you make more of a profit on it, so that it's like, if you can do it in volume and not kill your body, I guess, then it's, you can make things viable.
Especially since we're talking wholesale selling. Wholesale is all about the volume. So you're going to have inventory and you're going to have a lot of it, and that takes up space. So, yeah.
So you said 170 stores, is that right? Okay, and then one corporate gig. Is the corporate gig announced? Who's the corporate gig?
When's this coming out? It's fine. My parents don't.
It'll come out in like a month-ish.
Okay, my parents.
You don't have an you don't have an ND, a non-disclosure, do you?
No.
Okay.
So I just landed after 6 months of negotiation, landed a deal with Spencer's.
Okay.
So that will be.
Yay!
We're doing a test run, which will be in store April or May, and then after the trial run runs through, they typically order 3,000 pieces of every SKU that passed their sell-through rate through the trial. So 30 stores to start, and then 600 for a full rollout.
So there's 3,000 pieces of a SKU, as in like one card style.
Yeah.
That because they're spreading it across 30 stores?
So the trial order is 120 pieces spread across 30 stores of each SKU, and then the full run is 3,000 pieces run across 600 stores.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. So when he finds out those stores, we'll share it so that people can go to Spencer's, and because he essentially has to pass a test, right?
Yeah.
So.
Which is really common.
Like they have to see sales.
It's a 5% sell-through is what they require within 6 weeks.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So every single product that you see on a Spencer shelf, it had to go through that system, and it's pretty common with other stores as well. Like Macy's does it, Target does it. TJ Maxx is probably one of the only ones that I've heard of that doesn't do any sort of test run.
That's crazy. 6 weeks. But hey, I mean that's they got to set some kind of boundary. They can't just be like, let's try it for 3 months and waste the shelf space for something that's not going to sell.
Yeah.
So the first order they sent, it's going to be around $5,000. And then for example, if everything passed the test, because they ordered 27 SKUs, we're looking at like an $80,000 reorder. Which is insane, and I actually can't fathom how many cards that's going to look like.
Yeah. And then it's like, how do you scale that? Do you have other employees or people that help you?
Right now, I work with a couple. I do mostly everything myself with the exception of product packaging. So I hire family members and a couple friends' kids that come help, and they package cards. 'Cause that's definitely like something that's super time intensive, that I should be delegating. I shouldn't be spending my time doing that because there's other business things I need.
Because when you get cards printed, you're just getting a stack of all the cards in boxes, right? They're not actually in the plastic sleeves and all that ready to go.
So a card, I order cards, they come cut, printed, and folded. And then inside the card has to go an envelope, and then the envelope and the card get put into a plastic sleeve so that it's retail shelf ready.
Yeah, and that's the time-intensive stuff that you're talking about.
Yeah, so I mean, like, I can package a lot of cards, but at the same time, it's like a mindless task that I should be delegating to other people because there's other important things that I should be doing.
Should be packing 1,000 cards. Like, that's my goal for today, is pack 1,000 cards.
Exactly. No, it's my goal is to pay someone to pack 1,000 cards and then design more product or something.
Right.
Talk about how you price the cards and what, like, how you have that cost.
Pricing for wholesale,
but also like how you have it in the cost to pay somebody to pack it and like.
Okay. So I'll start with my pricing formula. When I'm doing product development, I will never bring in a product that I cannot mark up 4 times to a wholesale price, so 8 times for retail. So for example, my stickers, they cost 80 cents in a certain quantity, and then in quantities of like 200, they drop down to 50 cents. So I wholesale those for $2, and I would never consider paying anything higher than 50 cents for that card. So that's kind of my just like easy way, is just I need to be able to mark it up 4 times for wholesale selling. For
that sticker, the sticker would be $8, right? Or you said $2 wholesale and then
$4
retail.
$4 retail.
So my cards, there's a lot of components. Stickers are a lot easier because it's just one and done, but the cards have quite a few components to them. They have the printing, the envelope, the sleeve, and then the labor. So I priced my cards out with labor. I pay per piece for packaging, which I pay 15 cents. I got to that number because I was timing myself, seeing how many I could do like in an hour. And so I can do 200 an hour, like relaxed quickly. And if my people are as fast as me, they can make like $20, $25 an hour packaging cards. I also pack like take-home boxes of my cards. So I have one girl that comes and she picks up 1,000 cards on Wednesday and then brings them back the next Wednesday fully packaged. So that's why I pay per piece. It's more consistent, and then there's the flexibility if people can just do it on their own time.
You're paying the person per piece for like 50 cents a packet or whatever.
15, yeah.
15 cents per card they pack. Okay.
Yeah. So if they're as fast as me, they can make $25+ an hour. If they're slow, that's on them. So my landed cost for a greeting card is 53 cents right now. And I could probably get it down to 40 cents with volume. But yeah, right now I'm at 53 cents. And then I wholesale it for $2.75 and they retail for $5.50.
Okay.
And I sell them in packs of 6 to a retailer, like minimum 6 per design. So they're really good margins, but they're low price point margins. So to do 6 figures in wholesale selling, it's a lot of volume. I'd say the downside to the industry I chose is they're really small price points. So it takes it's a lot of volume to do.
Yeah, and it's a lot of labor to get that many packaged. If you had to package 50 of them or something and sell them for
Yeah.
$10 a piece, like that's where. Now that you say it like that, I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Why a Hallmark card is $4 or $5. It's like, okay, like there's a lot that goes into this, but it's also
Yeah.
not packaged like
Hallmark is also producing in China and paying
Yeah.
low labor charges, and their factories package the cards for them on machines. They don't have like a human touch to any of their stuff. So you're getting ripped off at Hallmark, but
they're just getting boxes and then they just rip the thing off the box and they're just sitting the box on the shelf probably.
yeah, literally.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Okay, and you're mostly selling those wholesale. Do you sell them retail at all, like anywhere?
Yeah, so I've done retail. I did retail for 2 years before introducing wholesale. Last year, I went full force wholesale selling and kind of took the focus off of retail. I feel like they're almost two different businesses sometimes because your marketing tactics and how you operate is very different. But so with my full focus on wholesale last year, 55% of my revenue was wholesale. And this year, my goal is to get wholesale revenue up to about 95% of my business.
Wow.
I'd eventually like to eliminate retail selling as a whole. And for that, I want to do that because the majority of my retail orders are a single card, and packing like an $8 box is a lot less fulfilling personally and not as time efficient as packing 300 cards in a box. So
an $8 box, like they pay $5 for it and the $3 to ship it, and it's like you're sending it off. And
exactly. Yeah. And like it's just not, it's a lot because it's just a lot of little orders and they're almost tedious in a way, where a wholesale order is like I can pack 3 wholesale orders and it's like, oh, boom, I just made $1,500. Where like this morning I packed 52 retail orders from the weekend and I was like, oh, I made $100, $200, like, right. And the majority of the $8, $3 of that's going to shipping. So yeah. So
that's where it's like with such small items, you kind of do want to just like, okay, I got 50 together and it's going to one wholesaler, or well, 50 is probably nothing for a wholesaler, but just one label and then one, I don't know if you write thank you cards or whatever, but like one
yes,
thing.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I don't write thank you cards for the retail orders because it's just too many small things. So that's kind of why my goal this year is to just really hone in on wholesale. I have adapted my retail a little bit and started introducing like 10 packs of cards, especially like in thank you cards and congrats cards. So that's been helpful to kind of get the order value up.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering if you sold like a sample pack or something, so it's like the best in this kind of range of options. Okay.
Yeah, and then another option I'm actually toying around is completely switching my retail selling to drop shipping and just having someone else fulfill that because there is the demand for it, and I'm doing like a few $1,000s a month on Etsy. I'm doing a few $100s a month on my Shopify website. So like I know I don't want to really say like goodbye to all that money, but I'd like to make a little less money and do no work for it besides that one setup. So
and the dropship option, would there be a limitation in the print quality? Like it wouldn't be as quality as what you would be shipping out today?
I honestly just kind of started tossing this idea around, so I haven't seen samples of what drop-shipped cards look like. So
okay. Or you'd have to like offload it completely. Like, okay, you are managing this, and that is your job to manage the Etsy shop. I don't know if there's enough work for somebody to be doing that.
Yeah.
Every week.
And that is another option. Is I just hire someone to do fulfillment. So it's going to be one of those. There's a lot of routes that I can.
And then is that cost effective, and is there growth in the business? Because if there's not a potential for reorder, like a retail person, are they going to be likely to come back, or are they just doing it for that one occasion?
Right.
Okay. So you're mostly doing wholesale. How are you going about getting those wholesale clients today?
So I kind of have three strong methods of getting wholesale clients. Trade shows is a huge one. It's also the most expensive form of marketing for wholesale. And we could dive into what those costs look like in a little bit. But I've done 7 or 8 trade shows in the last 13 months. And that's where a large majority of my customers have come from. I also sell on Faire, which is like the Etsy of wholesale selling. They bring me some traffic and some sales. However, it's an extremely saturated market, especially within the stationery greeting card category. So standing out on Faire is a difficult thing to achieve, and you kind of have to chase algorithms like you do on Etsy. And so I see success on there, but not like I have a couple other friends that sell on Faire in different industries, and they have a lot more success because it's a little bit less competition. And there's quite a few other online platforms like Faire. I also have tried out Hello Abound, which used to be really good, but they had some like CEO changes and it's pretty ass now. I sell on Fashion Go, which is kind of a trial run I'm doing with them. They reached out to me to bring them to their platform. They mostly sell clothing, but they wanted to introduce like a boutique adjacent category of like decor, gifts types of things. And then the other one on my list to kind of get on is called Bulletin, which is kind of an up and coming one. It's a little less it's a more curated than Faire, so they're like hand chosen and they're very strong on the values around the brand, like if it's queer owned or women owned or black owned, and kind of eco friendly or fair trade that covers. It's more of a platform for conscious buyers. So. But Faire's like the power horse of all of them.
And if somebody's interested in wholesaling, I'm guessing you have your own flow of how to handle that wholesale client in your own system, where you wouldn't say like, oh, just go through Faire because Faire's going to take a cut there.
So the nice thing about Faire is if you bring the customer to the platform, you actually pay 0% on all of their sales. So like if I added you to my customer list and you came and placed an order through my Faire, I don't pay a commission on that ever in my life.
What's a normal commission if they just find you through Faire?
25% off the opening order and 15% off every continual reorder. I do not have a standalone wholesale website because I don't think it's the best investment of my time. I have a catalog and I have an order form, and I do have people that email me orders or they call and place an order. And then something I do that a lot of my industry peers don't do is I have like a calendar link where they can just book a 30-minute buying call with me, and we go through the catalog. I tell them what's been popular, and they kind of still want that personal experience and the expertise I have as the brand owner, knowing what is going to sell what's most likely to sell on their shelves. So that I've seen a lot of success with, and I find that my orders are a lot higher when I'm able to get on like the phone or on a call. But do
they want to see samples through that too versus just
sometimes they want to see samples, or I have like a thing on my website where a wholesaler can just apply to open an account, and they can request samples at the end of the form. So I'll send like a printed catalog and samples if needed. But yeah, the majority of my orders come through Faire, even from the clients that I meet at trade shows, because as a buyer, Faire is such a amazing platform. They get net 60 terms, which means they can order and then pay $60 or 60 days later. And Faire covers all of that. Faire still pays you. They have free returns on their first order that Faire pays for. Like, Faire offers you all sorts of benefits to the buyer that you also benefit as a seller. So, and I do all of my wholesale invoicing through Faire, unless the customer is like a strict no thank you.
Oh, okay.
Yes. When you write
that's how much you're using Faire for that. Okay.
Yeah. So even when you call me and you're like, hey, can I put this order? I write it down, I fill out an order form, and then I send the invoice through Faire because it's just easier. It still syncs with all my inventory, and it just keeps everything.
Oh, yeah, I didn't think of the inventory side. Okay, so you have everything plugged into Faire. But what about those other platforms? They have their own inventory, or it's all plugged into one system? somehow?
I use a third-party software called Trunk Inventory that syncs my Shopify, my Etsy, my Faire, and they do sync with Bulletin if I get approved for that one. Abound is the only one that is separate inventory, but they just rolled out inventory sync with Shopify, so I technically can sync it up. I just haven't put time into that platform in a while. So most of them have started, like, once they, it's kind of on everyone's punch list is to do the API inventory integration with Shopify, because that's like the leading online platform. So that's usually the first step they take in kind of developing their inventory integration.
They got to be more credible, because if they don't do that, then they're missing out on people that are like, well, I just can't use your platform that much because it doesn't.
Exactly. So Fashion Go is the only one that has no inventory syncing. And so I just put a higher lead time on that platform just in case something's sold out or whatever. But
right.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's a lot. Okay, so so Faire is a big component here.
It really is. And you can, I have peers that build out their own websites, but they're not something that's super popular. The reason people don't want to use Faire is usually just because they don't like going online and building a cart.
You mean as a seller or as a buyer?
As a buyer, yeah. So the reason a buyer wouldn't want to order from Faire or through your Faire is because maybe they don't like the platform or the online platform in general. They want to or they might be old school and they want to do a written order or whatever. So you literally could try to fax me or send me an order Morse code. I will take it however you want to give me an order. But for the most part, I find everyone leans towards Faire because it's just a great, the coding is there. Whoever developed that website, they're on their shit. So.
I mean, when you talk about the money incentives of not having to pay a commission if you bring the customer, that's just getting customers more familiar with Faire, so they're helping the Faire economy.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of the intention there. But also as a seller, you're there's not really any reason not to bring them here.
There's not, and
it's easier on your side.
A 0% commission is cheaper than credit card fees through another invoice.
So true.
Right. Otherwise, they'd have to send you a check. And
and I don't take a check. So I use Square for my invoicing for people who don't want to. And I strongly encourage them to do a bank transfer because it's only 1%. But because retail selling's easy because when you're swiping the credit cards, 3% of a $15 sale doesn't seem like a lot. But then, I sent a $500 invoice and Square took $25 or whatever. I'm like,
yeah, that's cutting into your margin.
Yeah.
The other thing would be to add the 3% onto their, hey, if you want to use a card, I'm going to have to add a 3% fee because somebody's got to pay that.
And
but then it's
tacky. So,
yeah.
Credit fees are just a cost of doing business. And so if we can avoid them in a non-tacky way, such as a Faire invoice, I'm all here for it.
Oh, yeah. You could just say, hey, this is the standard I have. I go through Faire because it makes my life way easier. I can't manage them.
Yeah. And they don't actually even have to have a Faire account to pay their invoice.
That's great.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, I figured that out the other day. I sent myself one. So awesome. They strongly encourage you to sign up for a Faire account, but you can just enter a credit card and click pay. So
right. Because I'm sure they have some other features, they could probably track their order.
And,
reorder or stuff like that.
And it's nice because it goes all into one system for me. So it's nice.
Okay. And then are they pretty good about handling the shipping side of it too? That they know how much it's going to cost to ship, or?
I think Faire definitely lacks in that department a little bit. They misquote some retailers have sent me screenshots of what it's estimating for shipping. And I don't know if that's my fault. Maybe I have my weights in there wrong. But it's been pretty off sometimes. But they do offer integrated shipping through their platform, and they have discount contracts with all three, UPS, USPS, and FedEx, and they're really good discounts. So the rates I pay is pretty better than I've been able to negotiate through UPS myself. So
Okay.
Yeah, and the customer only pays what you end up actually charging. But I know from a customer perspective, I'd be hesitant to place the order without like clarification, like, oh, is it really going to cost $40 to ship this order? And you're like, oh no, it looks more like it would actually be 16. So they'll get charged the 16, but I know it's probably discouraged some people from ordering from me
Right.
if the shipping quote's off. And then on top of that, Faire also has this program called Insider Shipping, which is like their Amazon Prime membership similarity thing where they can get free shipping on most orders. So that has been cool too because it kind of tells you if like Faire is covering the shipping or if the buyer is. So
so the free shipping is just Faire footing the bill. It's not you're taking on that.
Exactly. And Faire, it tells you, which is nice because when Faire is footing the bill, I always ship it post office so it gets there quicker, even if it's more expensive. Like, not my customer's money, it's fine. Let
Right.
Faire.
And then they're happier because they get it quicker. So
Yeah, and Faire probably they probably designed this program with the intention of having 15% off every order. So they're like, they probably planned it being worst case, it's a break even. So.
wow. Okay. Becca, chime in here. I feel like I'm asking everything.
No, I mean, like, I don't know what you
did
have.
you-
This is why we did it with you.
What Faire experience did you have, Becca, so far? Like, I'm guessing Andrew got you into Faire, right? Like, he got you the bug to like try it out.
I sent her a referral link and everything.
Okay.
Oh, so here's the trick about Faire is that if you apply for Faire, there's a good chance you'll get denied. But if somebody, or this used to be the case.
If a buyer refers you, you have strongest chances of getting approved for an account.
A buyer, as in they want your products directly purchased through Faire.
So, like, I have a buyer account and a seller account, and so my buyer one, I sent a referral to Becca, and basically it's like this retailer is requesting you sell on Faire so they can buy your stuff.
Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean you as a buyer have to buy her stuff after that referral immediately.
No. And then I actually got a kickback for referring her from that.
I got joined within X number of days or something from her.
Yeah. So I got like $100 when she published her shop, and then I got $100 for every order within the first 30 days.
Whoa.
Which didn't happen.
I think I made $300 off you, or $200.
You're saying so any order that's placed through her shop because you brought her there, you're getting okay.
Yeah, and the commissions the bonuses have changed. They've been reduced since then, but this was like last year when they were like, get everybody this platform. I referred one candle company and I got $1,800 in referral credit.
Holy shit.
Holy shit.
Because they had their minimum order super low, and so people were just basically ordering from them for personal use, but I still got $100 an order. But that's why they saw like such a high volume of orders in the first 30 days. I bought my coffee table for my house.
So
it's fair credit, but.
And you were a buyer on Faire because what were you buying on Faire, or how did you get the buyer status?
Oh, you just apply for an account and submit your reseller permit. And I only had the account because I wanted to snoop on other people. Because you can't, on Etsy where you can like switch back from your seller dashboard and then you can go and just browse. Faire doesn't let you do that. When I'm signed into my seller account, I cannot look at the marketplace at all.
What?
Yeah, like I can't look at other shops. I can't look at anything. So I made a buyer
account. Have a separate like public account as a or they're only wholesalers on that platform. You can't just be a random person that signs up with a Gmail account.
Yeah, you can as long as you have a business license and a reseller permit.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got you.
I should do that, and then anybody from the podcast that wants to
Becca, there you go.
There.
New people on there.
That seems like a really good passive income situation.
But it's not income because you have to spend the money on the platform, so it's passive free stuff.
Well, I'll still spend the money and then I can sell it.
So you get it as a buyer is the way you get the money?
It's a Faire credit, yeah. So
and then you have to buy other products off of Faire.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, I know what we can segue to. Andrew,
Becca.
tell him how we met.
Oh.
Yeah, how do you know Becca?
I
I don't know this story.
Didn't we cover this in the first podcast?
Probably, but
I don't remember. How do you know Becca?
So I started following Becca on social media when I was like 16 or 17. And I was a baker at the time, and she was making things like cake plates, which she hates. That's her least favorite thing to make, just so everyone knows. Cake plates and other things I thought would be cute in my bakery stuff, and I loved it, and I've always had like a fascination with pottery. So you could say that I was like a fanboy on her social media, telling her how much I want everything, and then she'd tell me how much it is, and I'd be like, nope. So yeah. And then a couple years later, I forced her to become my friend.
It's true.
How do you
we were
Becca
selling.
to become your friend?
We were selling to the same show.
We were selling to the same show, but I forced Becca to start hanging out with me because she had started her Paint Your Pot mobile business that she did for a little while. And I was like, well, we should just hang out and paint some pottery. And then she was like, well, where? And I was like, I'll just come over. And then we did. And it was fun. And then she opened the studio a couple months later. I helped her set up the studio stuff. And then I was working like 2 jobs at the time. And so in between, like when I had breaks and stuff, I'd just go hang at the studio, and I'd just hang out while she throws pottery. And then a few months after that, she let me basically move into an unused part of her studio and use it as my fulfillment center for a year. And yeah.
For that.
To top that all off, I was working at this was after I worked at the pizza shop. So the pizza shop, and then John, my roommate, worked at the pizza shop.
And I started working at the pizza shop.
And John comes home and he's like, oh my God, the cutest little gay boy just got a job at the pizza shop. And I was like, is his name Andrew? This is before he'd come out as gay, by the way.
Yeah, and we weren't, I hadn't forced her to be my friend yet.
Yeah, and so that was like a connection as well. It was like a whole circle of things.
And we saw each other at the pizza shop, and our circles kind of overlapped after that, and yeah.
Nice. Okay. There we go.
And she's packed like hundreds of my orders for me, and I've glazed hundreds of her cups. I've made 500 fucking plant markers one day. I've pulled handles. Oh, yeah. I've done all the things.
He took my very first class.
Okay.
And I was also Becca's student once.
With his mom. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
Did you like the clay work?
I did, and I've told Becca that I wish I could take the class again right now that she's a better teacher.
I was so bad.
Because she, and I think how much time I spent watching her on the wheel before I got on the wheel myself was very difficult because she's so fast that I thought that's how things had to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I saw this person doing this, so you're not doing it fast enough. I got to speed the wheel up.
Yeah, she never goes slow. Like, she throws a cup in 1 minute, and I'm like, okay, so we pull this wall, like, boom, like, and then I saw, shout out to Val, but I saw Val from Val Flynn throw once there, and she spent 10 minutes throwing a mug-ish, and I was like, you can go slower?
It's not required to go this fast?
Like, my wheel was spinning, and I was just... I kept poking holes through the walls. Like, it was, yeah. But I had some success at the very end. I have a bowl that I made that I still have. It was great.
I would guess that when you're sped up like that, you're probably honing some skills there where you're finding ways to just figure it out and work with it. Then if you slow it down, it's like you're probably a little more conscious of like what you're doing because you have more of a feel of what's going on.
If I would have gave it more time, I probably would have got it quite a bit better.
I think so.
Yeah. I should have just done what Becca did to teach herself, which is, here's 100 1-pound clay balls, make 100 cylinders. You know what I mean?
But I
I don't
also
have the patience for that. I get bored and I'm like,
had a little bit
yeah.
more teaching before that too, but yeah.
Okay.
So that's how we met.
Nice.
It's a journey.
So did you like the studio stuff too, of like glazing a bunch of things and working in the studio in that fashion?
Do you like glazing, Ryan?
I mean, if you're just dipping
Exactly.
glazes, it's all right, but it's not that great.
I don't know who in this podcast is gonna come back and be like, he's wrong. Glazing's my favorite part. No. I mean, glazing's not bad. Waxing, absolutely not. I hate waxing. I'm so thankful that Becca didn't wax most of her pieces because the waxing part was terrible. I can't center on a wheel for shit. Like,
No, I taught you how to tap center. You can tap center.
you did, but if I had it my way, I would
It
Griffin
didn't stick, huh?
everything.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
some of the waxing, it's like you're doing this so that you make the it's like a more refined piece, but in the end, you're not going to notice that it was there because it's all burned off. So it's like you get the use of the function, but like there's not a lot of like, what did you get done at the end? You see a bunch of wax on the bottom, like.
Yeah, I think we had it streamlined where she would wax and I would dip the first color on everything, and then we'd go back and we would second color, like the rim dip.
Mm-hmm.
And so like it was basically just like working, and we'd hang out, listen to music, so it was fine. But no one likes glazing unless you're glazing like.
Would you rather glaze or pack orders?
Can I take a third option? I'll tell you what.
Wait,
And
no,
I think
we have to answer this though. What would you rather do? I'd rather pack.
I'd rather glaze.
If you knew that you had to glaze every single day of your life,
What would you do?
I'd probably pack orders.
Yeah.
It's a lot cleaner, and I don't know. There's a lot more steps in the glazing, and there's issues that can happen. I'm just like, there's a few things that can go wrong with packing, I guess. If you're used to the system, like the glaze.
There's more
there's thicknesses. You got to mix more up. You got to make sure
the wax strips down the side, and you have to, refire the whole piece.
Yeah.
He's not wrong. I have. Oh my gosh, the amount of nights that I have packed hundreds and hundreds of China pots.
Does it feel fulfilling though when you're packing something, because there's a finality to it? You're done and it's
at the
gone.
end, there's a pile of packages. Yeah.
Yeah, like at the end of the package, but not when it's raining, and not when it's like.
When you know the list is like 100 on the list and it doesn't feel like you're making a dent in it.
There was one time where I sold on this deal site and I had like 500 orders, and they were all single mug orders, or they were 2 mug orders. And I had 3 people helping me, Becca, one of them. And all I did for an hour and a half was print packing slips and packing labels. And we assembled boxes. Like it's so much when it's high volume. It's so exhausting.
I legit got a peanut chute for Andrew.
I saw that. Yeah, you had the. Right, yeah.
Which you loved to use when you could.
I loved it. No, it was great.
Magical.
It was great, but like, holy shit. Like, we would stack up all the boxes in the back, and we'd have to make a hallway to the back door, because that's how many boxes there were, and like make sure they weren't touching the kiln and like fucking blowing up. Like, there were so many.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
But we were good.
And
yeah, I mean, you definitely found efficiencies. I mean, that's probably part of how you know how to pack stuff so well today, Becca, right? Like,
it is
packed
definitely
hundreds of these things.
It is definitely. And what's funny is that he's not telling you the third person is his nephew, who was 9 at the time.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, he's such a freaking trooper.
He is. He's actually he still works for me. His work ethic's insane.
It's so good. He's like sitting there. He's like 11 years old or 13 years old. Well, how old is he now?
He just turned 11.
Yeah. So he must have been not 9. He was much younger than.
Yeah, 8. He was young, but.
He was young. And now he's like, I'm the best card packer there is. Blah, 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 blah. Like talking mad shit.
Yeah, because Becca was helping me pack orders when she was in town, and he was sitting there telling her how to be faster.
Yeah.
No, you should do it this way.
Yeah.
Like, all right, I'll put my headphones in now.
No, he was right.
Oh, he was?
It's just, I mean, like, it was at the beginning, right? And he's like, no, do it like this.
Yeah.
And then once I got it, I was faster than him, but.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, when you're packing hundreds of things, like, you find efficiencies if you care anything about, like, I want to get out of here before the night's over.
Really?
Yeah, he's funny. He's funny.
I felt it hard when I would pack, like, a lot of orders, that feeling like I had to get all of them done in that day. It was hard for me to, like, draw the line.
I don't know.
When you got like 500, obviously you can't get 500 done in a day, but like, where did you draw the line? Like, okay, we're going to pack 150 and call it. Or like,
Ryan, we packed until they were gone.
Yeah.
No, we literally would. It was either you pack until 2 a.m. We don't leave any orders. Like, we did it. We did them all.
We did it.
We did 500 in a day.
We're the dream team.
Yeah. We, like, I want to sleep in tomorrow. I'd rather sleep in and work until 4 a.m. But that's just me. So if I were to draw the line, it would probably, I would just do it like based on
first come, first serve.
First come, first due date. Actually, the nice thing about volume when you're selling something, like, I know your guys' stuff's a little more complicated because it's more custom, but when you're selling like item A, B, C, and D, I actually would use a software that sorts it. So if I would print out 100 orders that only have A and B items on them, and we'd pack those. So it was just the same thing in each box. So that's kind of something we developed in efficiency, and that helped a lot. Becca's orders took longer because it was, this white mug and then this 8-ounce tumbler cup. Like, it's more, there's
boxes custom
variation. You have to figure out which box size. Like, it's when you have consistent size products, it's so nice because, like, by the end of it, I had a box that was for 1 mug, a box for 2, and a box for 4, and then the box for 5+. And it's just, what you need.
And the boxes and the mugs were in their own individual boxes by the end too, so you don't even have to worry about that. They're just
mugs, yeah.
Do you pack individual mugs the same, whether the box is going to have 3 or 4 in it, or 1?
Yeah, so all of my mugs ended up coming to me delivered in a box already. It wasn't a thick box. It was more like a retail packaging. So they were boxed with a box with a window so you could see what design it was. And then that box would go inside the shipping box. So it was double boxed in a sense.
And you just pad it and, okay.
Yep. Peanuts and the product. That's all I used.
What's the gap there for people that are shipping multiple things? What's the gap to the outside box?
1 inch of peanuts minimum.
Yeah.
And then everything, all the mugs together, would they butt up against each other, or did you have cardboard between them?
Nope, they touched each other because they were, like I said, they're already in boxes, so there's technically cardboard in between them. So all my mugs were 6 by 4 by 4, and my shipping box was 8 by 6 by 6, 8 by 6 by 6 for the single mug. So 1 inch of peanuts all the way around, and then basically when I was doing my box measurements, I would take 2 mugs, put them butt to butt, measure it, and then get my box size from there.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, I only put a layer. I only have peanuts in between products when there's 2 layers, like in the depth of the box.
So if there's 4 in there, or maybe you said 4.
Like a layer of 4, and then a layer of peanuts, and then a layer of 4 on top. Like if they're double stacked in the box, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, some people can go crazy with packing, and then you underpack it, and they break. So.
But now, nothing I sell breaks.
Yay!
It's a dream.
So how are you doing the batches of? Do you have them in batches already counted? Like, is the person that's packing them putting them in batches of 50 or something? So it's actually doable and like easy to
So
count?
they're in packs of 6 because that's the minimum per SKU.
No, that's not what he meant. He meant like
If you're packing 500 of those, are you individually counting packs of 6?
how he does it is the clear plastic wrap is in 100 packs of 100. So when you get done with a wrap, that's $15.
I also don't think that was his question.
I'm just asking, how do you, if you're packing an order of 1,000 cards, are you manually counting packs of 6 until you
Yes,
get
but
1,000?
so yes, kind of. What
just
happens
weighing them?
is, I have the packing slip printed out, and it's, four 6-packs of this card. So it's not like technically, yeah, you're touching every pack, but since the items are bundled in packs of 6, if we're 1,000, if we're selling 1,000 cards, you technically divide that by 6, and you're packing that many items almost, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So
I didn't realize they were in packs of 6. That helps with the counting, so you're not, yeah.
Yeah. So I have them packed in packs of 6, and then the person who packs the cards puts it's called a belly band. It's just basically like a paper ring around it to keep them together in the packs of 6.
Okay. So a customer can only buy them in packs of 6 at that store?
Wholesale customers, yeah.
Okay. And then can they break them if they want and stuff?
No.
They?
Nope.
Okay.
We break packs for retail, but not for wholesale. Which is
really
it's really
for
common.
Retail because otherwise you wouldn't be able to sell as many.
Yeah, and also it just doesn't make sense to only order like 2 of one card design for a store shelf.
Right.
So it's called an MOQ, minimum order quantity. It's very, very, everything in the wholesale world has it. And depending on the price point of the items is kind of where things change. I sell everything in 6s, besides the journals, because the journals price point's $9. So I sell those in packs of 3. But yeah.
But you're saying the wholesaler cannot, when they get that to their store, they can't break the packs of 6 and sell them individually if they want?
No. Yes, they can break it and they can sell them individually. Yeah, that's the intent. Yeah. But
I got you. Okay.
Buy it in a pack of 6. Yeah, sorry.
I got you. Okay.
Hey, can you talk about how much it costs to do one of those big wholesale shows?
Yeah.
Where are they?
I will tell you. I will tell you the shows that I did. I have my first show I did was Las Vegas Market, the home and gift show, and I paid $4,200 for a 10 by 10 foot booth with walls that you can paint and drill into. You have to pay extra for those. So that comes out to like $42 a square foot. And these shows are between $35 to $70 a square foot. It's how they charge you is all square footage. And then there's fees for walls. There's fees for being on a corner.
There's fees for everything.
They get you. You pay $120 to have your outlet turned on. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So I'm only talking walls and floor space in these prices. But so Las Vegas 10 by 10 was $4,200. After that, I did.
How many days was that $4,200?
I think it's a 5-day show.
Yeah.
Okay.
4 or 5 or 6 in there. And then I did a show called San Francisco Now, and that was a 6x6 booth with walls for $2,200. That was a 2-day show. After that, I did Dallas Gift Market, and that was the cheapest market I've done in terms of square footage, and that 10 by 10 booth was $3,500 with walls. I've done the Atlanta market twice now, and I currently am in a 20 by 8 foot space that's $7,100 with walls. And then I just most recently did New York Now, which was by far the most expensive booth I've done, and that was a 5 by 5 for $1,800 with walls.
Which one was the one that you felt like you gained the most out of, and which one was the one that you felt like you hated, like didn't?
So Atlanta is my most successful show. If we're only talking sales, I think Atlanta is the best show for me.
What's the intent of those shows going to this? What is the result that you're looking for?
That is a wonderful question, and trade shows are a very complex mix of factors on how to measure success. I took a wholesale course last September, and it kind of broke it down to what people's goals should be for moving into these trade shows. And networking is a huge one. And that's networking within your industry, but also finding leads and potential new customers that don't place orders at the show. Then there's the stores that they come to that show ready to, place an order and go forward. And then there's also just, it's still like I'd reference this as marketing, but I just like to call it being like annoying and in their face, like having a presence. That's better. Having a presence and staying in front of these buyers, because the buyers go to so many shows. So there was a buyer just this last January that I met in Dallas last June, met them again in Atlanta in July, and then this past Atlanta show in January is when they finally ordered, and they're like, I've seen you a couple times, like I've been on the fence, or I wasn't ready to bring a new card line in. And so it's like that repetitive presence.
Frequency, yeah.
Frequency.
Yeah. And it's not even like you're like selling to them every time and like getting a little closer. It's just like they get more comfortable, right?
Yeah, and now that I have done a show twice, which is Atlanta, now I'm adding in the goal of continuing to nurture the relationships that you have with your wholesale clients. I think it's way harder to like stay relevant in a buyer's mind when they're ordering from 100 different vendors for their store. So it's just, that's like always a goal of mine, is to nurture those relationships, because I'm spending so much money at these trade shows to create the relationships and make that point of contact, that you got to keep it like, you got to keep in their head and keep that relationship good. And, a retail customer, if you piss them off, oh, they spent $25 and never coming back again, where the longevity of a relationship with a store, like we're talking potentially $1,000 over the next, couple years, that if you piss them off, that you're at risk of. So relationships are more substantial, and there's more on the line with them.
Yeah, you're going to get more like return on investment from an existing customer than a new customer. Like it's cheaper to get.
Exactly.
It's more expensive to get a new customer than to sell to an existing customer again. Okay. You had
mentioned like to me that you were emailing people to try and like reach out. Can you tell me what you were actually doing?
Yeah, so this year started, I've always kind of told myself that email marketing was dead. However, I think I was wrong about that. So, email marketing / text marketing, like those are really inexpensive ways to communicate with people, whether it's wholesale selling or direct to customer. And so this year I put together what I call a nurture sequence, and it's 5 emails over the course of 6 weeks that get sent out to a retailer when I find that, like, so what I do is I find them online or wherever I'm passing the store on the side of the street. Like I go hunt down their information and I send them an initial email with an introduction to my brand, and here's my catalog, and here's what I stand for, here's what I do, here's who I am, this is why you should buy from me. And so I'm cold pitching these stores via email, and then if they respond, I add them to what I call the nurture sequence, and then after that they'll get the 5 emails, and they're not really selling emails, they're more just expanding on brand values and
who you are, what you do.
Exactly. And so I'll read you the subject lines of the 5 just so you can kind of get a feel for it. But
so that initial response is kind of like they're opting in to marketing, is basically what you're getting a feel for. Are they open to getting more marketing or not?
Totally, yeah. So my 5 things I sent are 5 things you didn't know about That's So Andrew. 3 ways I'll make your life better. That's talking about how I can make the money by them carrying my products, how I value the relationships, and I promise to like communicate and be a great person and whatever. The next one is just some of my favorite products, but I never say like buy them. I'm like, here's just some products I wanted to highlight for you. The fourth one is what are people saying? So I include I include reviews,
testimonials,
social proof. That's my objective with that one. And so like my subject line on this one is these retailers are making a fat profit off That So Andrew. So it's very like catchy.
How do you get those testimonials are they actual like quoted testimonials?
So Faire has reviews. So I screenshotted some of those, and then some of the retailers that I have better relationships with, I've directly emailed and been like, would you be open to giving a testimonial? And then when they do, I usually like send them a free pack of cards with their next order or something. And then the last email I send is like my Hail Mary. I offer them free shipping. I offer them like a low minimum order, and I offer them like a free pack of cards with their order. So like 6 cards, which is like a $40 value for them if they sell it. Like that's the last one's my Hail Mary. You haven't ordered yet. Please, for the love of God, give me a shot. So, yeah.
How long have you been doing that nurture campaign for?
I just started it. And I actually got an amazing response from people. Like I had one girl respond to my first email, which is the 5 things you didn't know about That So Andrew. And she goes, I've read a lot of like cold pitches via email. And she's like, and yours is one of the only ones I've ever actually read. You're personable. You're like clicking on it and seeing a picture of you and the brand, like is the reason I kept scrolling. And and I think I ended up getting 10 orders from that one, which was awesome.
Wait, I missed where you're getting these emails in the first place.
Oh, okay. So the emails I'm getting are from personal, like scouring. Anytime I see someone on social media post a store that I think my stuff would be good in, I like take a screenshot and I go back and hunt down their emails.
Got it.
I also Google search like gift shops in Sacramento or whatever, and I go and I kind of creep a little bit on their social media to see, because my stuff's has a certain niche because it has curse words and stuff on it. So I see if they maybe are a good fit. These are emails I get from trade shows. So like anytime people want a catalog at a trade show or ask a question, I always like, oh, can I get a card from you before you go? And I get their email.
And if you find that shop, you're not necessarily doing like info@storename.com. You're getting like an actual owner email or something, right?
Well, I do whatever email I could find because an owner email is kind of difficult. My best advice to everyone hunting down an email for a store owner is usually Facebook, because Facebook requires you to have an email when you create a Facebook page. And then you have to go back manually and hide it from your profile if you don't want people contacting you that way. And like 99% of the people don't. So I usually Google 5 Lines Pottery Facebook, go on there, and I just take the email from what's in there. And if they respond, like I've had a couple people respond and be like, oh, I'm not the buyer from the company. If they're like bigger companies, like here's our buyer's email address and things like that. Or sometimes they just go unread. And then I also traded some customer lists with some industry peers. So those have been how I've gotten emails. So to circle back to my who is the That's So Andrew email, which I actually sent to everybody because it wasn't really a sales one. It was just a fun like reminder, like marketing email. I sent 15,000 emails. And from that, I had a 45% open rate, which is insanely high.
Yeah.
I had a 2.4% click rate, and then 10 orders totaling $2,400. And so the subject line was That's So Andrew and your shop need to come together. It wasn't even that clever.
That's pretty good, Andrew. I'm pretty proud.
I was surprised. I could not believe how many people opened that email.
So when you start that initial flow with that reaching out, is there some automation when you first do it? Or are you manually sending out that first like
The
contact? Not
pitch
once they're in the nurture, but like when that first reach out happens?
The pitch email is manual, which I just hired someone to help me do that. because that, I mean, it's marketing, but it's very labor intensive. However, it's still probably cheaper than going to a trade show. And then after we send that pitch email, we manually add them to the nurture sequence flow, which it's all automated. It has the time. So when I add them to the list, I have it like wait 7 days before starting the first email, since I just pitched them. So.
And what program are you doing it through?
I just discovered this program from another industry peer. She has used it for years. It's called Flowdesk. And the automation side of Flowdesk is very easy to use. Before this, I was using Klaviyo, which is fine. I don't care for MailChimp.
How much is it costing you?
It's like $30 a month, and it's unlimited sends, which is insane.
Oh, that's better.
Are you charged by the size of the customer list? Or
no, I'm like 80% sure it was just a flat fee. It didn't care.
Okay. Because I know some services, they do it batched. It's like if you're over 500, you got to start paying or whatever, and then you start.
Yes, you're right. Most of them have done that. Flowdesk it's $29, and it's unlimited emails, unlimited checkouts, which is something else they offer that I don't use, and like access to all features. It's $29.
Okay.
This one says 38.
35. Sorry, 35. I got a referral code from my friend, so I'm paying $29.
Oh.
And then the biggest
referral code from you, and then everybody else needs to get a referral code from me.
The most expensive one is $59 a month.
The everything in email and checkout designed to work seamlessly together.
Yeah. So I'm just using email because I don't utilize their checkout thing. I'm still on the free trial. That's why it said I had checkout still. Sorry. But you get 1 month free, so try it out.
Yeah, I use Square right now, and Square is $40. But you can cancel at any time, and it prorates it if you get in the middle of the month, which is nice.
That is nice.
And because all of my customers are from Square, it's kind of nice.
It makes sense.
So yeah,
how many emails are you sending outside of that nurture sequence? Because that's going to take care of getting new customers. What kind of consistency do you have with existing ones or people on the mailing list that are already customers or?
So I started
new products or something.
Email marketing January 1st. So I'm building out my existing retailer sequence. And that's going to I want it to include like, I just want to stay more relevant in their head. So it'll probably be like new product releases or, like here's what's selling best in the last 30 days, like that's been popular, like that kind of thing. And then just random educational marketing, like whatever. Or sometimes I just talk about like my life and people like to hear about that. Mm-hmm. So here's my plans. Here's what's going on. Like that's what people respond to is personability. Like they don't want to be sold to. They don't want an ad.
Right. And is it a lot of those emails at the footer you might have book a consultation with me on my calendar or something like that where it's always in the bottom so they know they can
there's always
a conversion with you if they want to?
At the bottom of the email before my signature, there's always a button that's like view catalog or something. But it's very, very low key. And sometimes I pretend it's not even there. Like I don't even talk about like click the button below. I just say like view catalog or whatever.
Because people know. Yeah.
Yeah.
How important do you think a catalog is?
Oh, wonderful question. I think that if you want to sell wholesale, you cannot be successful without a catalog unless
like
you're
a paper catalog or a PDF catalog.
You can be successful with just a digital catalog. I upload mine to Google Drive, and I also have I have a separate like landing page just for my retailers, and I keep an updated digital catalog there. However, I think the value of a paper catalog is it's there, like it's worth it to have. people love to touch and feel and flip through and, circle what they like and then like bring in their mom or their coworker or whatever and be like, what do you like? It's a different experience than scrolling a screen. And I think you have better results with a paper catalog.
Is that the majority of people in a trade show you go to, that they all have catalogs?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then the people shopping come around with piles of catalogs?
Yeah, and a lot of people, like, I don't really hand them out like candy because they're $3 a piece. So I only give them when people ask. Otherwise,
I just put them on the countertop. You put them underneath, so they have to ask for them. So they have to make a connection with you.
Yeah, I only put them on the countertop if I'm like stepping away from the booth, or like when I leave for the night, because I know people like to wander the mornings of. So I always leave them out if I'm not there. But other than that, no, you're asking for one because I want to get their card. Like if I'm giving you a $3 catalog, I want your email. Like that is the trade we're doing right now.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Because I mean, I've gone as a buyer to a show and it's so overwhelming how many things you see and how many products you see. And so even trying to stand out from the 20 catalogs people brought home is difficult. So that connection is very important. Like I never give someone a catalog if they haven't talked to me.
I have a follow-up there. So at show, and this is probably common for a lot of potters too, that if you're selling at a show, you will get wholesalers that will walk around and go to shows because they're looking for handmade crafts and something that fits in with their vibe. And you get cards.
Yeah.
What would you say to people that are worried that they're not ready to, maybe they don't have a catalog or they're not willing, or they don't feel like confident that they can take on another wholesale client? Would you still make that connection, or how would you proceed from there? Maybe you don't sell many wholesale options and you're kind of feeling it out.
So you're saying if you're either maxed out on your wholesale selling or you're just kind of dipping your toes in, would you?
Yeah, if you have a shop that comes up and maybe you do like 2 or 3 wholesale clients, like that's not a big part of your revenue.
Right.
But you're like, I get a card for them, or like what would you suggest that the artist should do on that?
Okay, so if we're going lower scale, I think a digital catalog is a great tool to have and an asset to have. And so I would definitely say put the time into developing one of those. That's something I would always send to someone, if they give you your card and like, could you send me more info? It's such a nice resource to have, because in your catalog, you should have obviously all your products and the pricing, but then also like the terms and conditions of like what your sales, what the order will look like how things are packed, how long it takes.
Terms that you would say an early wholesaler should have on their terms list.
You guys should include a link to my digital catalog in the podcast bio so that people can scroll.
Yes, we can do that.
We have to time out. Time.
What do you mean? Is it a Skype thing, or are we done? Are we maxed out?
No, we're not maxed out. We have to time out because we're almost out of time. Because what do we have to talk about today, Ryan?
We can put that anywhere, but...
Oh my God, I know what we're about to talk to.
We have to talk about the folks that support us.
Wait, I don't remember the name of the company. I know
L&L Kilns.
L&L Kilns.
Yeah, and guess what are we going to talk about today, Ryan?
We have a new section that we're talking about, the feature of the kilns. This is not relevant to paper crafts. You do not want to put your stationery in the kiln. That does not work.
However, you can rip up paper to use it for a paper test to see if your zone control is working.
Yeah, but you don't want to use paper as fine as Andrew's cards. No. But so the zone control is a newer thing that we're talking about today. It is, so if you look at an L&L kiln, at least in mine, because of the sections, there are 3 thermocouples in the kiln. So we can read all the different temperatures in the kiln from top to bottom, because they don't always fire consistently, and it's not all the same temperature throughout, depending on how you load it. So the zone control decides with the computer what the temperature is in that area, and then it can adjust so that it's firing consistently throughout the firing. So, if the middle is a cone hotter, it's not going to get a cone hotter because it's going to adjust and it's going to overcorrect in certain areas so that it's,
Wow.
not
And he
overfiring.
doesn't know this because before the current kiln that I have never had a kiln with zone control. And my firings may not have been as even as they could have been.
That's because most kilns have one thermocouple, and it's right in the middle of the kiln. So it can't really know what the temperature is on the top and the bottom. And the bigger the kiln is, the more fluctuation you have. I don't know. When you had that oval kiln, did it have a couple thermocouples or just one?
Just one.
Just one. And it was a 27-inch deep or whatnot kiln.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I miss that kiln.
Zone control, 3 thermocouples. Sure, they might get in the way a little bit, but it's giving you a better end result because you got a more consistent firing. Which is exactly what I needed, because I've talked at length about the issues I've had with firing consistently from top to bottom. And
P.S. I only miss it because it was so large. Not because of who made it, because I totally wish it was an L&L kiln. Ryan,
how
where
long are those freaking elements in that oval kiln, though? Those got to be long elements, right?
Yeah, we never changed them.
Oh my gosh, that would be a nightmare. But that wouldn't be cheap either.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Right.
Yeah, zone controls can really help with if you are firing like crystalline glazes and stuff like that too, because it's better for the like if you're doing more specialized pots, it's quite nice.
Yep.
Wow, that sounds amazing.
All right.
And I always thought that you would hit it, you'd like always like hit it with your shelf on the way up. And you know what? I've never actually hit one.
The thing is, you can adjust like how you load it. It's not that big of a deal. Like, okay, I always need to put a 5-inch post at the bottom. I can't put a 4-inch post or 3-inch post. Like,
Yeah.
You probably shouldn't be putting a 3-inch post at the bottom anyways.
Yeah.
And
So where do you find your zone controlled L&L kiln, Ryan?
Hotkilns.com.
Dun dun dun. We need to have a little jingle.
Yeah, or a discount code.
We need like a sizzle button or something like.
Andrew, we're gonna have to cut that out. You know why? Because discounts don't pay the bills.
Use code WheelTalk for 0% off your next kiln.
That's right.
Because their kilns are already so goodly priced that there's no room for discounts.
No room for discounts because it's zone controlled.
You're gonna have less loss of your pots with the kiln, so.
That's the discount.
There you go.
The discount.
Sorry. We just had to enter the influencer era.
Yeah.
All right. That was nicely transitioned there, Becca.
Thanks. What were we talking about before?
I was so scared something happened.
That somebody taking on a wholesale client potentially at a show when they're like, maybe I don't have this catalog to just hand you, or I have all these answers. And then we were talking about terms that would be involved.
Get their email and follow up with their catalog. And then in your catalog, you should have your pricing, your terms, some product pictures. Your terms can look like what your order minimum looks like, how you collect payment, how long it takes for the product to be delivered, and other little rules you may want to have. Like in mine, for example, I have no third-party sales, so they can't sell my products on Amazon, Etsy, or anything like that. And also a little clause that if you reproduce my designs, my name, and my website, I will sue you.
Boom.
I mean, at your level, you probably did you have to go with some contractual, like, did you get a lawyer to help with some of this stuff because you're dealing with so many retailers?
No,
you just put it in there.
I'm Becca's best friend, not your best friend.
That's so true.
I don't know how enforceable these are, but I mean, it would be trademark and copyright infringement, so technically I could sue them no matter what, but...
Okay. So I feel like some of the hurdle, and maybe Becca could attest to this, I don't know, the catalog part is a big hurdle. And is it maybe it's not that big of a hurdle because they're overthinking it of like, what do you need in it? Like, what's the base set? Is it better to have a really slim catalog that has 6 things or 10 things in it and that's it? And then you're like, I'm just starting here and this is what I got for now.
Yeah, so I think you can start wholesale selling at any with any like product line. I think you should probably have a minimum of like 12 products. That's kind of like the
And
industry.
for pottery, that might not mean 12 forms. It could be like a small mug, a big mug, a large mug. That's 3 of the 12.
Right.
Yes, correct. And you guys have this fun thing called colors. So there's some variation there. So, you know, you have the
Very fun.
3 mugs, and then you have those 3 mugs in 4 colors or whatever.
Oh, so you would consider each of those part of the 12. You wouldn't say those 3.
I feel like I would consider the colors as like a half item.
Okay. Just to not overwhelm yourself. Because, I mean,
I feel like
part of the factor is, can you reproduce things consistently to sell at a discount? and make
yes.
money?
So I'm not. I obviously don't hand make anything I do. So if I'm
'Cause
back
I'm smart.
if I'm backing up to the perspective of being like, you know, hand making the items that I'm selling, I would probably do 6 things and do them really well. And then do the colors from there, because obviously color variations are a lot easier than form variations in terms of pottery. So yeah, I would say 6 things and do 6 things well. And do 6 things that are time efficient for you, because you know your guys' highest cost is the time that you put into a piece. So yeah, that would be my recommendation if someone wanting to start wholesale selling. You know, Becca has her old catalog from when she used to do production for wholesale
It was
still.
great.
And it was a lovely catalog. And a catalog really isn't that much. Like, if you're only selling, my catalog's 50 pages long, but that's because I have 300 different SKUs where you basically need 1 page per product that shows some like a good picture. How much is it? Some like info, you know, like, oh, it's the dimensions and whatever else, and then the glaze options. So I don't see a reason that someone like you, Ryan, would need a catalog over like 12 pages long.
Right. And also I would recommend before you go and buy 300 of them, print it out like on somebody's like at Office Max or whatever, put it together and do that first. Because
What if you're not graphically inclined? Like,
Well, Ryan, you can literally buy catalog templates to use on Canva off Etsy.
there we go. Okay. Canva.
You don't have to
did
be.
you do that?
I didn't buy a template, but I created my entire catalog on Canva because I don't know how to use InDesign.
That's fair.
Okay.
And it has its restrictions, but it also has its advantages. And so when you're thinking of like, you only need to design 1 product page and then you just duplicate it. But they have templates all over Etsy for wholesale catalogs. So find
Okay.
something that fits your vibe. You can tweak it a little and roll with it.
That's totally doable. Yeah, I think yeah, I'm initially like I don't have a catalog. Like the only reason I got a list of things is because of an actual client that was like, I need a list with estimated sizes and color options.
Yeah.
So then I made a spreadsheet, and and then I sent them a bunch of images, and I was like, this image maps to this thing.
Yeah.
And it's like messy, but I never put it all in one document. So
yeah, it's a little bit of an undertaking, but like it's something that you can do over the course of time, you know, like chip away out of it. And once you have, like I said, the product page, like your layout and stuff made, like the hard work, then it's just copy and pasting and plugging in different images and it's like duplicating the listing on Etsy, you know, like,
Yeah.
But I know that you've kind of dove into it a little bit harder, the wholesale selling. You should have one.
And some of it's like, you know, if I take an image now, it's going to look all nice, but it's going to evolve over time. Like my mug is not going to look the exact same, but like maybe I just need to be fine with that it's going to hold the same amount.
So how do you overcome that hurdle with your online selling now?
Are you wholesalers or just
in general, like if I order a mug off your website or Etsy or wherever, am I getting the mug in the photo or are you making
Yeah.
it?
You're getting the mug in the photo.
Oh my God.
I'm not manually taking the photos. Rachel does the photos, but retail's also online is not. It's probably like 35% of my sales. So like I'm not uploading, but maybe
I wouldn't either.
I'm not uploading a lot. Maybe 40 pieces every 3 months or something.
So
And then there's a lot of products that live the whole year, like shot glasses and spoon rests. Those photos were taken a long time ago, and I have a goal to like update those so that they're in a couple listings instead of 4 listings for the spoon rest, for instance, so that the photos are up to date and the glazes are reflected and they look a little more approachable.
yeah. Are you consistently using the same glaze colors?
Yeah.
So
I do have to trim some of the listing combos that I offer just so it doesn't get boring for me to have ones that don't really sell that well.
Yeah, and how inconsistent are you with your throwing?
It's not that much. It's just if you look at the photos, you're like, those look so dated. Or like if I put it in a printed catalog, would that mug look as good if I had that same catalog? Or maybe you're updating your catalog every couple of years or something, so it does
you
look
should. Yes, every year you're supposed to update it.
every year. Okay. And is that mostly just photo updates? Or is it your cards get...
I release new collections every 3 months, so I'm uploading new product, taking out product I've gotten rid of. So, because I want to reach 500 SKUs, and then I don't want, like, for every product I add after that, I want to ditch something else. I never want to have more than 500 items.
Okay.
And I'm at 300 right now.
How do you determine when... And for you, since wholesale is such a big part, when you ditch it, you're completely removing it from inventory, and you're just selling off the remainder to retail or something.
Yeah.
And just saying, like, I will not be selling this anymore.
Yeah, you just discontinue it.
Okay.
Unless, I'm not discontinuing things that aren't selling.
How do you determine which ones
if they
you're
suck?
going to discontinue?
If they suck.
Do you just look in your inventory, you know how much inventory you have of each thing, and you know which ones you're rebuying and which ones you're not?
So I can look at a sales report and see what kind of doesn't sell great. And then I also, a great part of doing these shows is I can see what people react to and get live feedback right then and there of what's, like, if you ask me my 10 best-selling cards, I can tell you without running a sales report, just because I know what I'm always packing in boxes and what people are always picking off the shelf when they're ordering, or when they're ordering at trade shows. And I also know what people don't tend to touch that often. And so you know your brand, you know what colors don't sell, you know what pieces, you just know. So, and there's some cards I design, and I actually just redesigned a chunk of cards. And so there was this one I redesigned, and all I did was make the text a little bigger and I added a little graphic to it. And now it's like a really popular card, where last year I sold probably like 50 of them. So, yeah, so updating, yeah, that's how I kind of I just discontinue things that maybe, or if I'm just tired of looking at it, I did that for 2 months.
Okay.
I'm like, I hate this card. It doesn't reflect my current aesthetic. So
yeah, some of it's like you gotta separate yourself from like how much you like something, and you would like the customer, like it's had its time in front of the customer to grab hold if it can, and if there's not traction there, like, don't feel so attached that you can't get rid of it.
Totally, yeah. So, and like there's a couple collections I've designed, especially like I have a large collection of goods that are geared only towards like the LGBTQ community. And so that's already a lower selling section because it's a very niche population of people. And then from that, you're going to have the ones that sell even less. So you also have to ask yourself, like, what's kind of like on that collection in particular, I don't discontinue a lot because it's there for representation rather than profit. So, yeah. And then there's like my best selling card is one of my birthday cards, and I hate it. I think it's one of the worst, like, tackiest designs that I've done, but it's my best-selling card, so I can't get rid of it, and it doesn't matter. I hate it because I want the money. It says, "You blow this, I'll blow you. Happy birthday," and it has a cake on it. Like, it's stupid. It's dumb, but it sells. Like, it sells all the time, and so I'm not gonna get rid of it.
See, I feel like when you're hand making it, like maybe there's so much finite time that you really have to make those decisions. I mean, there's also a factor of your body with the hand making it where it is taking away time from other things, so it makes it tough to know.
Right, and that's kind of why
where to draw that line.
It's taking away time from your other things, and that's kind of why I suggested finding 6 things you can do well and do quickly.
How much do you have to love that thing more so than, or is that maybe not the top factor of those things?
Listen, we're running businesses. What you love doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't.
What about love making? What about love making or enjoy making?
If you don't love making it, you should have never made it and put it in your catalog.
There you go. Okay.
Like Becca with handles. She hates making screen printed badge mugs, and that is all we ever made for wholesale.
It was horrible.
Awful. Awful, awful, awful. And like, she got to the point where she was delegating the screen printing part to, like, I would do it. She had an employee that did it, but I mean, I can't do handles. She's the only one that could do that, and it's.
And a customer's going to spend money on a handle than a cup without a handle.
Right. So, I mean, obviously, like, your enjoyment of making that item matters, but if you're going to do wholesale selling, you have to be comfortable doing production.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yeah, you have to like it I feel like you have to like it at the base level, but you don't have to like the individual of that base.
Yeah.
So, like, Andrew doesn't hate folding cards. Like,
he's like giving you a face.
Disagree, but
I mean, he does, but like, or like making cards, but he may hate that one birthday card, but that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right? It's,
that the sales on that birthday card are going to push the business forward for you to focus on other things as well. So
that birthday card pays my rent.
yeah.
You gotta, like,
and for a printing standpoint and packaging standpoint, like, the design doesn't matter on the card.
No. It's basically
because it's the same piece in the end.
Yeah. So, yeah, if you compared it to pottery, my different designs are the colors. So, or you get Becca, who was making printed designed mugs with different glaze color options.
It was terrible.
Too many variables. If you're gonna give yourself a variable, choose one.
This is why we say don't do what Becca does.
Well, yes, or listen to what Becca says now. Simplify. Yeah. I can't stress enough how, like, simplifying your systems. I don't do production, but I still have a, fulfillment and packaging, like all these other components that you have to streamline and you have to make efficient. And so, keep shit simple. Don't overcomplicate.
I mean, I would also suspect there's a you can also have a line that is more highly produced that is retail. Like, maybe you would be more likely to trim something that's going to be retailed, and you have a more simplified version for wholesale potentially that you can make more efficiently, and you don't do all of the exact same steps, but it's still good quality.
Absolutely. And you don't have to sell everything you sell retail. You don't have to offer wholesale.
True.
I have a candle line and I don't wholesale it because the margins aren't there. So I offer it retail, and was great to create, and I love the candle line, but I don't offer it to stores because it's heavy and breaks when shipping, and that was what I told myself I wouldn't do. So you got to keep.
Did you you went through that enough with other things to make that decision of saying, I'm not going to wholesale this? Or did you break some and go in that route and then?
I'm not making that. I partnered with a local company to make them, and I had slim margins on them. But they were just they agreed to make candles to order. But I sold them to 3 stores, and the first 2 orders had damage in them, and I'm like, okay, I'm having trauma flashbacks. I cut the whole thing out of my line, and I had only did it as a test run at the market. I never put it in a catalog or anything. I just put them out on the table and was like, here's the price point. But it wasn't. It's not worth the
Because
headache.
you were basically the middleman in that situation. You were getting things wholesale made for you, and then you were curating it for a business that was going to sell it.
Yeah. So
there's 2
it
levels
was
deep of
really-
wholesale.
It was essentially drop shipping in a way. So yeah, I was paying $7 for the candles, and then I was charging $12. So I made a little money, but as soon as 2 candles show up broken, well, there goes my profits from having to refund the 2 or ship 2 more. So
Yeah.
yeah. But Becca, what, from your experience in production pottery, what 3 items did you find to be most efficient to make?
Well, definitely the wine glasses.
No handle.
You can do without a handle that's a cup that's popular. If you can put a thumb indent in it.
When you say wine glass, it's not with a stem or anything. It's
just a cup.
A wine tumbler, I think is what they call them.
Yes, a wine tumbler, and then I think Ryan's got it going with the spoon rest, honestly.
What about the pinch pots when you were making those? Would those be on your top 3 list?
You have to sell them high enough to make the pinch pots worth it, but they are easy to ship, I will say that.
Yes, and you found that the mise en place bowls were better, right? The hand-built bowls?
I don't think they did better wholesale.
But you liked the production side of them better?
I did like the production side better, but I don't feel like they sold well. And I like planters. Planters are fucking easy wholesale.
You made a lot of money off planters.
I made a lot of money off planters.
Especially, you can catalog those easily too, because you can up your size pretty consistently. And when you're putting a hole in the bottom, the glazing part is like cake.
It was a dream to glaze those. What wasn't a dream to glaze was her planters with built-in drip plates.
Yeah, those probably sucked.
Don't do those. But no,
it's not that hard. You just got to put the sponge inside the planter.
And I will say the nice thing about planters, segueing into plant shops in general, because I sell to a lot of plant shops, they have a high-end customer typically.
Yeah.
So they're your pricing is usually you still can make good money even though you're hand making it, because they charge a lot.
Stopping at a handmade price because their customers are already willing to spend.
Absolutely, yeah. So plant shops are a really, really good niche to lock into. And then my other niche that I've really benefited from is bookstores. I don't know the overlap of what bookstores and pottery could go together besides
maybe if they had a coffee shop in there.
Yeah, coffee shops, they're usually pretty low key with their gift section, so they're not going to be a high volume client. They might order a small, selection of mugs to sell, but
nobody's saying a bookshop with a coffee section.
Don't Barnes & Noble have coffee cafes or something?
Yeah. So, yeah, or even Becca's fidget stones, I feel would be really good in a bookstore. Or stones in general, with words on them or something. The type.
Yeah.
If you did stamped stones with the typewriter looking font, it kind of connects to literature.
Right.
Yeah.
What about the when you were talking about the plant shops, Becca, maybe this is for you. Glaze inside or no glaze inside on the planters?
No glaze inside, don't need it.
So just on the rim and then on the outside.
We plugged the hole and dipped them, right?
Yeah, so
go on the inside.
So if you're gonna do one with an attached plate, so if you're glazing from the bottom, what I would do is plug the hole on the inside, push it down into the glaze, take it out, let it dry, wipe off the bottom, and then do your top flowy glaze on top and just dip the rim in that so the rim looks glazed, but it's not glazed elsewhere.
Yeah, and we also benefited a lot in terms of streamlining production. We waxed via dipping, not via brush.
Right, we did the hot wax.
Hot wax.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a game changer when we did that.
Andrew really likes the hot wax.
I do. I enjoyed it. It was great.
Yeah. It is kind of satisfying when it dries like immediately and you're like, ooh, that looks really clean.
Yeah.
And honestly, it works better than the brush
does.
on wax.
Yeah.
It's easier
So,
to wipe and whatever.
Becca, you mentioned the spoon rest though. Like, I don't wholesale any spoon rests. Like, there's no wholesale. There's maybe one wholesaler that buys spoon rests. It's not a wholesaled item for me. It's more shot glasses, mugs.
When I had spoon rests on Faire, that's what I sold.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you have a Faire shop, Ryan?
No.
Do you want one? Because Andrew can get you one.
You should try it.
It makes me nervous, but I mean, maybe I can try it. I would love to get spoon rests on something like that. And I can control the quantities and things like that too. So.
Oh yeah, I want to hear what are you nervous about? What hesitations do you have about wholesale selling?
That it's already more on my plate than I can handle, like production wise, because I really enjoy the selling in person at shows. So I get excited about getting shows on the schedule and then having stock ready. And then if I get a wholesale from an existing wholesaler, I get an order, like I can accommodate. Yeah. But if I get a random one, I worry that I'm going to get an order for 25 mugs. And that's going to make a big dent in my mugs. But maybe that's you control your inventory and what you have on available and what you don't. But
then don't wholesale big things. Only wholesale small things. So just do spoon rests, shot glasses. I don't know, small planters. Like nothing with a handle, you know?
Or do we'll circle back to do 6 things that are easy and that you do well. So fuck handles. But also the nice thing about Faire is they offer a vacation mode if you need to take a break, like a full break. And they also you can set your lead times. Like obviously people want quicker lead times, but you can set a 3 to 4 week lead time. Or even, I'm leaving town for 2 weeks, and so when I get any orders during that time, you choose a estimated ship date. So I'm just going to push them out 4 weeks. Yeah. And you just, I'm just going to send a message like, hey, I'm in Europe for 2 weeks, so we're kind of extending these processing times. You can keep the order or you can cancel it. It doesn't, you can offer. I think as long as you have communication with your customers, that shouldn't.
Yeah. Is there like out of bound lead times where it's like, it's okay if it's a deterrent because I really need to get a good order that I'm comfortable with. Not a good order, but like I need to be comfortable in my lead times more so because I don't want to deliver something late. Like like you just said 3 to 4 weeks. Like I don't know if I could get a wholesale order in 3 to 4 weeks when it's off the list of other wholesalers that I already have and I know. I don't know.
So on Faire, you can the max option just is 30 plus days as a lead time. And
so I couldn't put like 6 to 8 weeks. Like that's not an option. It's 30.
It's 30 plus, and then from there you would choose when you accept the order. You choose an estimated ship date. So you could do the 8. It's 30. So you wouldn't get penalized on Faire because it's 30 plus. So it's anything past that. If an order comes in now and you're like, it'll go out April 1st. Okay, you say you accept it. You click April 1st, and then because it's such a long period, I would just kind of have like a copy and paste message you send
and you can accept it. I didn't realize that was a part of it.
You can decline orders as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
You
it's
would
just
say
like an inquiry, basically. It's like, here's my order form. Can you fulfill that?
Exactly.
Okay. And then can you pick and choose what you can and can't?
Like by item?
Yeah, like maybe you can't fulfill the mug portion, but you can fulfill the spoon rest or something.
Yeah, you can.
As long as it's within your minimum and you're okay with whatever.
if your minimum's $200, let's say, and they order $100 in mugs and $100 in spoon rest, and you don't want to do the mugs, if you decline the mugs, they still can push through the order for the spoon rest because their original order hit your minimum. So that's
If you're comfortable
choice.
with it. Okay.
Yeah, it's your choice to remove those items off, and it does not force them to order more items. But it sounds like you shouldn't wholesale mugs. It sounds like you really don't want to.
Yeah, it was just an example. Yeah, it was just an example.
But
And some of it's like, I also want to, like, for instance, I threw 4,500 pieces last year. 1,500 of them were shot glasses. Like, I don't want to throw more shot glasses this year. So my way to do that is, like, I'm only going to sell them online. I'm not going to take them to shows. And that's it. Like, I'm just going to sell them on Etsy. And then if I get an occasional wholesale order and it's a reorder, then I'll take it if it's okay. But I won't, like, seek out the option of making more of them because I don't want to just be making shot glasses. You know? And I'm increasing the price. That should de-incentivize some.
I was gonna say, like, step one, increase price. Why don't you want to make more shot glasses?
Because I don't want to make 2,000 shot glasses in a year, like, or 3,000. Like, I don't want more than half of 4,500 pieces in a year is already a lot of pieces. Like, so, like, I'm not doing my bodies any favor by upping my goal of throwing 6,000 pieces next year. Like, that's not reasonable. I still do this on the side. Like, it's not reasonable to do that.
So what if wholesale's the step for you to go full-time pottery, or do you not want to do that?
It would have to make a lot more money to do that.
Well, you're telling
that's the pricing, right? You wholesale, you charge the. So, okay, maybe that goes into pricing then. Would you charge? What if I charged a certain amount on Faire that was more? And maybe that's Becca can answer this too because she's been choosing some things. Like, would you choose a price that is higher to de-incentivize some things so that if you were to get an order, it's not as big of a deal because it's worth the money?
It should always be worth the money.
Yeah. I do get what you're saying though. Let's just walk through the shot glasses in general. How much do you sell them for?
$10 retail.
So is it make sense to wholesale them at $5?
Yeah, for me. Yeah.
$7 wholesale.
Let me rephrase the question. Does it make sense to sell them at $5 wholesale if they're ordering 6 of them as your minimum?
No, no. They're not going to resell 6 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they will, and that's not, you can't say that.
No, I would treat that as a bulk order, and I would not discount it unless they got like 10, maybe.
No. I'm saying, like, they meet your minimum order elsewhere, but I'm saying, like, would you rather sell 6 shot glasses at $10 a piece over 6 different orders, or would you rather just sell 6 for $30 in one box, ship it go?
Oh, okay. I think you're kind of talking through, like, should you sell them retail on Etsy or just take them off Etsy and sell them wholesale on Faire and make more, so you just pack one order.
Yeah, because it's more work but also less work at the same time.
I don't know. The packing of so many shot glasses does suck. I don't know.
Do you need to streamline your system better?
I mean, nobody packs the shipping, but nobody packs 50 shot glasses but me. Like, we haven't got to that point where other people are doing that, but
yeah.
That's part of, like, choosing things that can ship well as well. So
I also think those might be too cheap.
So what would you?
He doesn't clean up the bottoms. I should mention that.
I throw them off the hump, so they're for 30, 45 seconds a piece to throw. 30 seconds to thumb off the bottom, stamp them, and then the rest of it is firing the kiln, waxing, hot wax, dipping in glaze.
I mean, I think in general they should be $12.
Retail?
I mean, like, minimum.
Okay. I mean, I've been upping them about $1 each year, so
Becca, how much?
They'll be up to 12 by next year. You know.
Aren't Becca's pinch pots $10?
She don't make pinch pots.
I think I upped them to 10.
Were they 10?
Yeah.
And
I would honestly pay, but I mean, you buy a stupid glass souvenir shot glass for like $9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With, like, a saying or something on them?
Yeah, $8.50.
or whatever. But people love shot glasses. They collect them, and yours are unique. I would consider going between $10 and $15.
Okay.
And
And
then
And
maybe I'll
sell them for
feel
$7.50
and then you
wholesale,
sell them $7.50 wholesale. Yeah.
okay.
or just
So-
sell them for $8 wholesale. $16, $8 wholesale.
$16
No, that's
retail?
pushing it. That's pushing
That's
it.
pushing it. I'm not going from $10 to $16. I get it. That's where the end game is, but maybe that's like stepping stones here. Like 12.
Oh, we said $12 and $7 wholesale. That does not math. It would be
No.
$6 wholesale, so it'd have to be 14.
Yeah. I mean, I think you could up your prices to $14 right now, and it'd be fine.
I agree.
And I probably would feel more comfortable with that if I'm only selling it online.
Can you
Like-
please tell him how much his spoon rest should be?
Right now they're 18.
They should be 20.
We're working our way, Becca. I was just at 15 like 3 months ago.
Okay, it's not, to be fair, I was selling my cards for $2.20 a year ago, and now they're $2.75.
That is fair.
The thing about wholesale is if you have tight margins, you feel those tight margins a lot quicker, and you realize a lot faster that you need to raise your prices.
I feel like there's certain like I would love to get a wholesale order on spoon rests, but it's finding the right person that's wanting to buy spoon rests like that.
Okay, Ryan, the cheapest handmade pottery spoon rest that I see on Faire right now, wholesale is $9, and they're pretty ugly. Something similar to what you're selling is $15.
Wow.
Wholesale.
Wholesale. So between $9 and $15 is what I'm seeing for wholesale pricing. Actually, here's one for $18, and it's marked as a bestseller. $12. I think these are Becca's. Oh no, this is another
Becca,
company.
you said you put some stuff on there, but you upped the price. Like it wasn't half of what you retailed it for. Like you actually made it a little more. Right? Like what's your spoon rest on there?
Honestly,
I
You-
think I put mine for I can't remember how much I had mine for.
I don't think you had them for $10 on wholesale.
I think I did. I might have had them for 15.
the only rules on Faire in terms of your pricing is that your retail price has to match your other website. So you don't have to do a 50% discount, which is standard for wholesale selling, but your retail, you cannot advertise a higher retail price than what's on your website or Etsy.
Okay.
So wait, so like, could you say that my retail price is $10 and then and sell it for $7?
You could,
Okay.
but also
Like go to a show and you sell it for $7 or something because nobody's gonna.
No.
Double
On
check.
Faire, you say what your retail price is.
Oh, but you wholesale it for $7.
Yeah.
And like my cards, I have listed online for $5.50, and that's what I suggest as retail on Faire. But it shows I sell them for like I do like 3 for $12, so they're like $4. But it's your online advertised pricing has to match. What you do at shows doesn't matter.
Okay.
But also, if people are ordering your spoon rests at $10 and you're wholesaling them, or if you're selling them successfully wholesale at $10, but you're only selling them for $15 retail, somebody's making a lot more money off your pottery than you are, and you should just that's a sign that you should raise your prices. So, yeah, Brian, you're cheap.
No, my spoon rests are 18. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
Yeah, so you're saying that you just said 10 and 15. So
That's-
you're saying
That's
So-
wholesale.
yeah. Add $10.
to my retail?
Yeah.
So 30, almost 30.
On Faire, they can be 20 in person, but you should put them for. You should probably wholesale them around $12.
And
Honestly.
some of it's, and a lot of mine is supply and demand. So if I feel it at a show and I feel the supply is dwindling and I can actually tell that I'm having an effect on it and I have to work harder, then I'm like, okay, then I'm more comfortable raising it. But not having sales to back it up, it's hard to just blindly raise it without knowing what's going to, I mean, I'm sure it'll be fine, but
How much are your mugs?
the standard 12, 14 ounce mug, something like that's like 36
Oh, see, those are priced properly.
for like a basic mug. So
Yeah, but for sure your shot glasses would be over. The spoon rest market's weird to me, but the shot glasses I would definitely do more.
Yeah, the shot glasses have slowed a little bit on Etsy, but I do get inquiries on Etsy, the people that want to buy wholesale shot glasses or they want to buy in bulk. And some of that is, I'm not, if they're buying it for some wedding or something and they're getting 12 or 20, like I don't give them a wholesale price. I'm giving them a bulk price maybe. Maybe I'm discounting them $1 a piece or something, but it's not wholesale price.
So for handmade pottery shot glasses on Faire, I'm seeing $10 a piece, $8 a piece, $9.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm just looking at the handmade ones. There's a lot of like commercially produced ones, but
so then or shot glasses on there could set myself apart, and I could charge more.
There's only 3 that I see on here that are handmade.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, $7.50, $8, and $10 is the 3 I see.
Becca was there. Did Rebecca Graves rely on Faire a lot for her wholesale?
Still does, yeah.
Yeah.
It can be up and down though.
Okay, but also one of these shot glasses, the cheapest one, $7.50, they're literal pinch pots, like pinch method, hand built. That's right.
And I think part of it is getting comfortable with understanding your price, even though you can make something efficiently, making something of quality efficiently. Like there's a value to that, and that's sometimes hard to feel good about, because if you it's like, okay, I can make this cheaply and efficiently, and it's good on the customer because they can buy it because it's affordable, but also like there's some cost associated with your skill when you've made thousands of something.
Yeah.
So I guess it shouldn't be so hard for me to like increase that price on certain things when it's like, hey, I know what I'm doing with this.
Do you price labor into your?
No, I'm not that granular.
You should start there.
You should start there.
I didn't mean to come off like bitchy.
No, I get it. Like, hey, you should time yourself. How long does it take you to make this? How much clay do you use? Like, get into how much it actually costs to do this.
Yeah, so like, I mean,
doing it slowly.
Your guys' pricing is so, like, clay is so cheap. Like, it's minimal how much material goes into what you guys make. Your investment is your time, and people like you and Becca that throw thousands of pots and have years and years of experience, like, if something takes you 5 minutes to make, you should be paying yourself $100 an hour for that 5 minutes, and then leave room for profit for the business.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I need to get that granular. It's hard for me to prioritize doing things like that, like making a catalog. Like, I understand I can get in the studio and crank out things, but doing something that's not in my skill set, like making a catalog, it's hard to see that immediate result and the finish line there.
And maybe it would be more beneficial to you to outsource it and hire someone to do it. Go on Fiverr and just hire a freelancer, or we live in a world where people do everything that we need. So I outsource some of my stuff that I need done. Like, if it's not in your skill set, or if something you don't want to do, if you have the privilege to pay for it.
Right.
But also, like I said, you can achieve the same thing with like a $20 Canva template, where you don't have to design, you just plug in pictures and change some words.
See, I didn't even know that was the thing. Like, I don't know much about Canva, but it's like, okay, pay for a template, that makes sense. You probably just plug in some bullet points to list off the dimensions and the price and whatever, and then you put in a picture.
Exactly.
Your options, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah. What else you guys got?
Oh, sweet.
It's like, I'm just loving the fact that Brian's getting grilled by a 24-year-old.
It's also like I'm stubborn. Like, okay, like there's certain things I'm going to be more comfortable doing than other things. So.
Yeah. No, I mean, this is the conversation that you and Andrew are having right now are conversations that we have on a very regular basis. And that's kind of like why we became friends, because we both kind of think in this sort of like, we challenge each other in different ways because of that, you know?
Yeah. And, you know, I think we all have our own things that we all do things that we think are of higher value or lower value within our own like businesses of, you know, like some things I do, I'm like, oh, that's like, I don't really bring any value to that. Where other things I'm like, I have to do that. Like I'm the most important thing. So I think having an external perspective, it's easier for people to shine value on the things that you don't think are valuable, like your time.
Right.
But your time's like the most important thing. And we're all working on these businesses so that we can have more time. That's the goal.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And what is that time? What is that extra time you're going to get? Like, what are you going to put that extra time toward? Is it just going to be more time to make more of the same things over and over?
Or
so you can make the same little profit margin? Or is it doing something strategic that's going to push the business forward?
And we want
big to Europe.
We want big profit margins. You know what I mean? Like those shot glasses, you should wholesale them because they take you a minute.
Mm-hmm. And so I like throwing them. I just don't want to be known as like I'm only, well, not known, I guess. Like there's also a level of like your peer group, right? Of like what,
right?
Like, are you setting yourself aside with the things you're making, or are you like? I get it. Some people need those quick, easy things to keep their business afloat. I don't need that, so I can be more strategic with what I want to spend my time doing.
Mm-hmm.
So if I just wanted to go straight business route, like I'd be making the like pinch pot sort of things, and I'd be making shot glasses like crazy, and really driving the Faire and the wholesale and building a catalog and like doing all of that and reaching out to existing clients and like seeing, can I give you some more of these and sell more of these? Here's how you can sell them. People use them with air plants. People use them, you know, whatever, and give them some options. But I think it's just like, I don't know what I want my work to be like 5 years from now.
Yeah.
Am I going to be very stagnant in the thing I'm doing if I just keep making the same things that I already am comfortable with, you know?
And you have to really analyze if it's more of a hobby versus a business, regardless if it makes money. And if you see it as a full force business that you want to like go, you know, full time in, you have to be able to see yourself delegating, and like you're gonna need help. So if you don't see yourself having other people in your studio working too, like whether that's their glazing or you find a production partner, whatever you delegate, you know, like if you don't see yourself doing that, then I would do what you enjoy then.
And I could also be putting more weight on the, like, that I'm the only one that could be throwing the shot glasses. Like, I can teach that to certain people that could, and I could do the legwork to get the clients or double down on the clients that I already have, where I can figure out the production side of it, where I don't have to stress my body more to make double the number of shot glasses.
Yeah. And, you know, wholesale can really bring in cash flow. That's, I think, the benefit of it. It's larger orders, which help with a lot of things. It helps, you know, you can grow faster. It's a lot easier to get one wholesale order for $400 than it is to get, you know, 20 customers to spend $20. So
that's true. And then the packing the orders. Who wants to pack 20? Like, I'd much rather pack one box of 50 than pack 20 small ones.
Absolutely. And you know, retail selling is its own, you know, like actual in-person retail selling, that's its whole different ball game, because the high level of work comes at a different time. Where once you get to the point of you're set up and ready to sell, you're on that high because you already did all the work and you're just collecting the reward all at once, which is nice. Mm-hmm. Where online selling and wholesale selling is just a constant, like, doing the work, getting the reward, you know, like. But when you go to a show, you prep a shit ton of pieces. You have to produce volume way in advance, where if you manage to have a successful made to order wholesale company, That's nice. It could be really lucrative, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you, if you max out in your wholesale capabilities. Oh well. Oh well, like you're maxed out, you can't accept new clients, who cares? You're making that
Yeah.
extra money that you are and without straining yourself. So I mean,
I think
horse
it's I think it's also easier for me to see that I have more control over signing up for a show and going to a show because I know where my skill set lies in the in-person
yeah,
interaction.
yeah,
Whereas a wholesale, you're relying on the internet and people to find you. If you're not going to trade shows and things like that, where you have less control and you feel like you invest this time and effort into a catalog, for instance, or getting all those pictures looking really professional and then you don't know what's going to happen.
yeah. And then at what point does that investment of time into photos and doing all the initial work, after that it's almost passive, you know?
Mm-hmm. You just have to have trust that like you're doing it for a reason.
Yeah. But it's like an Etsy shop too. Like you do all that initial work and then they bring you the rest. So um,
Yeah.
it's like once you do the work, it's passive marketing and it's not passive income, but you know what I mean? Like
And once you get it done, once you do it once, like updating
yeah,
the catalog is probably nothing. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Like, you just add another page of products or whatever.
Okay.
I redesigned my catalog 3 times already, so I'm crazy. But you don't have to do that.
No, I like redesigned mine too, and like I was kind of bummed when I did mine because I felt like I could have done it better, you know?
hmm
Becca, did you feel like you were committing to something on paper that felt like people were going to be really granular? Because I feel like some of that is, you improve in your throwing, so like pieces are going to get a little bigger, like they're going
That's
to
why you have
change
to
a little bit.
update it yearly, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you just put the disclaimer in there. It's a handmade item. It's not going to be the same. People that are shopping for handmade pottery to carry in their stores, it's expected, The
Yeah,
buyers, they know. Like, Becca was making hundreds of planters for this one shop, and yeah, they're going to be a little glazed differently, and there's going to be variation, but you're selling a handmade product, and that's a selling feature, it's not a drawback. Each piece is unique. That's a selling point. That's
yeah.
not a flaw. You're not a machine.
Right.
If they want machine created things, they're going to pay $5 for a $5 mug.
Mm-hmm.
But the shops that are ordering your guys' like items, they have to be high-end shops for the price point of pottery, handmade pottery in general.
One other thing about pricing, how do you communicate to your wholesalers of an updated price so that they know that when they order the next time, do you do it proactively if you change prices on something?
I don't tell them.
So they find out when they get in.
Yeah.
Well, if it's on
It's not
Faire,
that
you just change the price on
I
Faire.
change the price on Faire. I upload it in my catalog. It's not.
Okay.
You're not at liberty to tell everyone when you update a pricing. It's
Okay.
it's part of you can send it you send the invoice I send the invoice back and no one's ever declined it after price increases, but I try not to change my prices more than once a year, so I plan it around like usually like after Christmas is when I change my prices.
Mhm.
And I increased them a lot because I was not priced for success last year. And I left tens of thousands of dollars on the table in sales. Like my cards are 50 cents more than they were last year, and I sold like 15,000 cards. That's a shit ton of money. That's like $7,000.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and so I upped my cards 50 cents. I upped my stickers 50 cents. My buttons went up a quarter from $1 to $1.25. So that was like a 25% increase. And my journals, I doubled the price of them because I really priced those wrong. So,
And it's not that you're being greedy that you left money on the table. It's just like you weren't at market is kind of the way you look at it. Or
so the issue with the cards is I was not at market price, and the industry standard was $2.75. Like that's just what a boutique greeting card is, and then it goes up from there if there's
How
special.
did you find that out?
I mean, honestly, market research, which I didn't do beforehand. And I had this thing in my mind, which comes from retail selling, that, I'll just underprice the market so that people are more likely to order from me. So I did $225 so that everyone would order from me because my cards are cheaper. But what I found at my first show was people asking me why my stuff was so cheap.
The wholesalers?
Yeah, what, like,
it was kind of a deterrent. Like, they were like, something's not right here.
Yeah, not like, yes, that exactly. Like, why are they so much cheaper than everybody else in this row? Or, and it comes from retail selling, because in retail, like, shoppers don't care. They're gonna choose, like, they want the cheaper thing, where buyers want consistency and they care about the quality of product they're bringing in. And so,
I had see that as hey, I'm going to get a discount so that I can retail it for the same price that I do all my other cards, and I'm going to make more of a profit.
No, but also they did that. So then when I was selling them at $225, I had gone to a couple stores that sold my cards, and I'm like, these bitches are selling my cards at the same price as they're selling everyone else's, and they're just making more money off me. But it's not stopping them from ordering from the other people. I also did that San Francisco Now show. Was half a stationary show, like 50% of it was stationary, and I got roasted by people around me. So
because your prices were still low as well.
Yeah, they're like, what are you doing? How are you making money? And I'm like, oh shit, I'm not. Like, you're right. Like,
okay.
So.
And a positive way to look at that is you've got the wholesalers a taste of you, so that when they come back, they just got like a free one, sort like a discount.
Yeah,
to get the door, sort of.
Yeah, I had a couple of retailers drop off after I raised my prices, but they weren't retailers that carried cards anyways. And I do have that
was kind of a safe option for them.
I suppose I have the privilege of being in an industry where people don't only carry one line of cards, and so it's not like, it's a less risky industry to be in, because people who sell cards already know what cards sell for, how much they can get for them, how much they should pay for them. Like, it's easier.
Pretty standardized.
That's the word I'm looking for. It's standardized because it's such a huge industry.
Because where I see with our stuff and pottery, if you sell at shows in different ways, then it's kind of regional. Like, I'm pricing for what my cost of living is as well.
Right.
And it feels like I need to have something affordable, or somewhat affordable. Like, I can't go out there with all $60 mugs.
Yeah.
And that's the only mug that I have available.
Totally.
And you only have that because you sell it online for that price, and it's fine.
Totally, because if you brought your stuff to Washington or California, you could charge more. So I wouldn't let your local community detour what you're selling things for, because they're in their own, you know those people. Like, that group of customers, their price point, where they're at. None of that matters once you switch to online selling, because you're not locked into that pool of people.
You're on a level playing field because everybody else has access to the Etsy shop or Faire.
Totally. And you can charge $10 for your shot glasses in Kentucky, and then online have them for $15. It doesn't matter. You don't have to be consistent. Who made that rule?
Mm-hmm. And I might be selling the shot glasses okay on Etsy because I'm lower and I'm higher quality than other people at $10.
Yeah.
So I could be overworking like you were doing with the cards, right?
Right.
Except I'm selling a retail one-offs, so like I probably could cut off some of those retail sales. Yeah. Pricing $15, cut off half of them, and then you'd make the same amount of money.
Yeah.
Okay. I like all the things here. I feel like this is like a Tim C conversation again with like pricing and things of like.
It's a different perspective than Tim C, which is good.
But everybody has pricing on their minds too. Like, and it's also, there's a sense of like the money side is like, am I getting greedy asking for a certain amount? Or like,
no,
am I just undervaluing my time? And if there's no measurement there, like I haven't gone the level of measuring all that time that's spent, so it's, I don't have anything to compare it to. It's like, how much am I actually making?
Yeah.
For my labor.
Yeah. Well, and like, if you are pricing your labor, you should not, whatever you make at your job, you should be paying yourself way more than that in your business, because what's the point of having a side business if you're not making more money at it? And so you have that unique perspective of, well, this is what I'm worth at this company, and I need to be worth at least this, if not more, in my own company.
You're worth it, Ryan.
But like right now, if you doubled all your prices and you sold half the amount of pieces, you're still making the same amount of money.
Right.
And it's not greed. It's, do you want to be in the studio till 2 a.m. making pots every day? Because you're doing... No. And if you're selling cheap, like, it's crazy. If you're selling it cheap enough, you're probably already selling at what should be wholesale pricing, which it doesn't sound like you are, but like, there's probably people that are going to listen to this that are undercutting themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're selling a mug for $15, like, I wholesale my China mugs for $8. And people sell them for $20, $25. People sell my cards for $8. I went to one of my retailers the other day in Arizona, and my cards were $7.99. I'm selling one card for $8, something people throw away, and you're selling a shot glass they keep forever for $10.
Right.
There's a market for everything. And my cards are not $8 cards. They don't have pop-ups. They don't have gold foil. They're not letterpress. Like, they're just a digitally printed piece of paper.
They're pretty small.
And they're small. They're A2 size, so they're half a sheet of paper folded in half. So a quarter of a printer piece of paper.
Quarter of a page. Okay.
Yeah. And they're only one side printed. There's nothing on the inside.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And like, I'm developing a higher end card line right now that has fancy printing and all this shit that'll be like an $8 card, but these are not. And most of my retailers sell them for at least $6. And yeah, this was the highest, which was $8, but.
Okay.
But you go to, like, you ever seen the Mud Pie brand of pottery?
No.
It's commercially produced, like, in overseas, and that shit's expensive.
Is that just from brand recognition? They have that aesthetic that the market seeks out?
Like, or even before I got into this, when I was doing home decor, I was buying Ray Dunn pottery wholesale from the manufacturer, and they were charging $9 for what essentially was a pinch pot wholesale. So you might price yourself out of your current market, but there's a market for the next step. Look at Becca with her $100 cups.
Yeah, but I work really fucking hard on
It's just how where is that market? How much do you have to work to get to that market?
Yeah. So, I mean, and the pottery world's insane with the variation in pricing. So,
because then you could be left with vast inventory, but you need, you're not selling it as much. So there's a bottleneck there if it's sitting on shelves, which I do tend to have things sitting on shelves. So like, if I price it higher, am I just encouraging myself to? But maybe that's like, hey, maybe that frees up time, so I'm not making as much. There's less stuff on shelves. I'm spending time doing other things.
Yeah, and you can do a full wholesale business made to order, so you never have to have anything sitting on a shelf. I don't have that luxury, but you do.
Made to order, yeah, like glazed to order, sort of. Like I can have bisqueware sitting on a shelf and then glaze it and ship it out.
Right.
Yeah.
Or I mean, I wouldn't feel comfortable making it from scratch, but it depends on what it is.
That sounds like a very efficient system to eliminate some of the processing time. Because I mean, in reality, if you had bisqueware, you could get orders out in 2 weeks. That's a lot of time to glaze and fire and pack.
Right.
Becca was getting shit out in 1 month, and that was
From start
start
to
to finish. Yeah.
Yeah, but I had a much larger space than a lot of other people.
No, I know, and I'm not telling everyone to do them, but I'm saying you can do a made-to-order business, and you know how much you can produce and how fast.
And I think having the option to accept the order, I didn't realize that was part of it. I was taking it as
Yeah.
you have to fulfill it because they've
Yeah.
committed to ordering it. But
I'll get you a link sent over after this, and you can go set up your Faire.
okay. Ooh. Dipping the toe in.
Yeah, just pick 6 things.
It's also like
I
it's
like
okay.
that. 6 things.
6 things. Okay. It's also figuring out where I can remove myself from some commitments I've already had too. Like consignment is probably not on the table at this point. Like why am I still consigning stuff?
No, if you're what percentage are you paying for consignment?
It's usually 60-40.
You get 60?
Yeah.
Okay, I would much rather lose the additional 10% and get paid up front.
Right.
Because now you're making shit to collect dust on a shelf.
Well, the thing is, I started the consignments like 6 years ago when I was going hard on consignment, or
Totally.
4 years ago. And then it's like, at
All
what
done
point am I like, you know what? We're not going to do this anymore.
We've all done it. Totally. I used to do consignment too. I actually have 2 stores that I still sell consignment in, but it's not, I'm not making the product, so it's not really a bigger deal to me anymore. But if I was making everything like I used to, like, fuck that. You're just like, you're putting them on shelves to collect dust.
And then when I get the pieces back, it's like, mystery boxes coming in hot.
Totally. Or if the store breaks something, they're probably not paying you. If it gets stolen, you're probably not paying you. When it's a wholesale order, they buy it outright. It is theirs. If they knock it all off a shelf, that's on them. That's not on you.
Yeah. So nice.
You know, if it doesn't sell, that's on them, not on you. That's the risk they take, is owning a store. But you have the nice thing about Faire, where within 60 days you can return things from your first order with the company.
Mm-hmm.
And Faire takes the returns back. You still get your money. The buyer gets a refund, and they got to try out your brand for risk-free.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then Faire has like a sale.
Yeah, and then they sell the shit cheap, but
yeah,
it's on returns.
Okay. And then usually, if you're consigning, you're kind of curating a custom order for a shop that may or may not sell. You may or may not see the fruits of your labor there.
Yeah, or it might take 12 months for you to finally recoup
that 10% extra that you got.
Yeah.
You're basically prettying up their shop.
I think consignment is one of the worst inventions ever. It's just store owners who don't have capital.
It's true.
Like,
but I was like thinking, like, Becca, if you can't, like, can you wholesale your earrings? Or like if you have inventory, would wholesale be an option for what you're doing? But you wouldn't want to wholesale the fancy cups, but like.
I'm working on it, actually.
Okay.
I just designed 5 earrings while you guys have been talking.
Nice.
Yeah, we set up Becca's Faire. She has 2 products on there right now.
Okay.
2. But
so
I'm working on it.
Yeah, like traveling and stuff. Like, Becca, I mean, is this more of a on your plate now? I mean, the wholesale seems like because the efficiencies, like, that's your game right there, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, because Becca doesn't want to carry 100 mini boxes to ship out 100 mini retail orders. She wants 5 12 by 12s that fit 100 pairs of earrings, you know, like. Becca's also crazy, but we won't get into that.
You know what's funny? I have a funny story. Andrew knows my mom, but you don't, Ryan. But she's very creative in her thinking. Like, she's very what's the word? She's like good at thinking random things up. So I did all these mystery boxes, and I ended up selling like 34 of them. And I was like, what the hell am I going to do for packing? Because I'm at my parents' house, and there's like no good packing solutions around. And so my mom's like, just use shredded paper. I was like, what? She's like, yeah, just take a ream of paper and shred it. So all of my mystery earring boxes have like shredded white paper in the bottom of them, and it's like the messiest thing in the whole world, but it only took up like a half a ream.
Is it actually like did you ship them in a physical box, like a 4x4 box or something?
I bought bigger boxes.
Thank God.
They're too
You guys,
big.
Becca was shipping the tiniest little boxes through the postal service.
Hey,
Like
all
a
of them
label.
but
Like, how did
one
you
got
even put a
delivered.
label on there?
She printed mini labels for them.
And
The
they worked with the
boxes-
Dymo, but the Rolo didn't have the right quality.
The 3 by don't talk shit about Rolo. They'll sponsor you next. 3 by Becca was shipping 3 by 2 by 1. Is that what they were?
3 by 2 by 1.
Yeah.
It just imagine like 10 credit cards stacked on top of each other,
And you were shipping what, a couple pair of earrings in there?
Yeah, they were tiny. I almost lost them just driving to the post office. I don't know how they made it. I don't know. I will not ship anything less than like a 4x4x4, and that's scary too.
I shipped a 4x4x2, and those were perfect size.
Yeah, what is that, like 3 iPhones put together?
No, it's like a candle.
Okay.
Okay. So that's what you were shipping your mystery boxes out in? Your mystery earring boxes? Nice.
I have used shredded paper in a pinch. I literally pull it out of my shredder. I'm like, well, here's my old credit card. Enjoy.
Yeah, my mom wouldn't let me use the stuff that she'd done, so I had to use new paper.
Oh. You don't want to get her bank statements in there or something?
Yeah, I was like, nobody's gonna read those.
Well, you can't. It's shredded. That's the point.
That's the point. And she's like, I don't care. And I was like, okay.
Oh my gosh.
All right, I'm on the Faire train here. We'll see how this goes, but I might be sold, and I might be sold on sunsetting at least one consignment shop, maybe 2. I don't know.
One of us.
It takes time for me to like get off a commitment like that, because like sure, like I'm good with the relationships, but some of it is the back and forth with people. Like there is a cost to that and a value of time that's included there that makes it tough for me to like stop doing something. I guess that's
Well, that was your 2.5 hour. I was gonna say anything else, but I think we have to call it.
All right, Andrew, thank you so much. Where can people find you? Website, Insta?
You can find me at that'ssoandrew.com, and I'm on TikTok and Instagram at that'ssoandrew. Andrew with the underscore
Andrew
at the end. Yeah.
Underscore at the end. All right.
That's it.
All right. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Ryan, what's your email? I'll invite you right now.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
I thought you already were saying bye. Sorry.
Yo, higgity yo. It's Becca here. Hey, just so you know, thank you for listening. And also, we have... What do we have again? A Patreon. We have a Patreon that you should go, and if you want to donate to, you could donate to it. If you don't, that's cool too. But just Google Wheel Talk Podcast Patreon. Don't do the other one, because there is a Wheel Talk on Patreon, but it's not us. So make sure you get the right one. It's in the show notes. And also, leave us a review, because they're fun to read. Okay, bye!